Alrighty, we are at 9 o'clock, so we will call our regular business meeting of the Klickitat County Board of Commissioners to order. Let the record show Commissioner Zoller and Commissioner Christopher are present and Commissioner Anderson is away. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Speaking of which, I understand why we have the flags where we have the flags, but for our Zoom camera and the Pledge of Allegiance, boy, it sure would be nice if we had one over there that we could face, that the camera could actually see. And, you know, don't know if that's doable or if my seatmates are okay with moving these to a different place in the room, or just a second flag. I don't know. I'd have to look at the flag code to see if you have more than one flag in a room or not. Anyway, just throwing that out there. Thank you, everybody, for listening to my ramblings.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the commissioner meeting minutes from November 7th, 2023 as presented.
Okay, I'll step down and second the motion. We have a motion and a second to approve the commissioner meeting minutes from November 7th, 2023. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion for the approval of the business agenda with two add-ons, condo water right transfer and under campus.
Sorry, taking notes.
Okay.
I'll step down and second the motion. Discussion, do we want to put these under new business at 1:45?
Yes.
Okay. Taking notes.
Okay.
All righty. So we have a motion and a second to approve the business agenda with two add-ons. Is there any other discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor of approval of the business agenda with two add-ons say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Brings us to public comment. You will have 3 minutes to comment if you would like to comment. Please keep your comments relevant to action items in Klickitat County or items before the Board of Commissioners. Please state your name and general location in the county for the record at the start of your testimony. There should be a clock on the Zoom screen that hopefully you can see. If not, when your time is expired, the chairman will let you know that your time has expired. With that, we do not have anybody in the room, so we will go straight to Zoom land. Please, if you want to give comment, please raise your hand or unmute yourself. I'm not seeing any. Oh, there's one. Sherry, go ahead.
Good afternoon or good morning, commissioners. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I am trying to go to an email, but basically my comment is about the under canvas having to go back to the hearings examiner and what that looks like. And there's a letter that supposedly is being submitted to the county commissioners, and that's what I'm trying to look up, but so I could have the exact words for my public comment. But basically, you know, this comes back to what happened from the beginning of this project, that everybody in this area, everybody, I mean, you know, this has been something that's been going on. We said, hey, there's so many problems with placing under canvas here. And let me go back to the fact that I've never been no under canvas. I've been pro under canvas. The under canvas wants to come to Klickitat County and they want to bring rich people in that spends $400 to $600 a night for a tent. Come on, bring your money and give it to our communities. Okay, that being said, put it where it should be. There are so many problems. And obviously, we go back to the findings of facts. and how the hearings examiner did not do what he needed to do. And again, I don't have the words in front of me, but you will. You have them. You have the little legal technical words. And the problem is that the citizens in this area, the inhabitants in this area, the people who live in this area have warned you. We have warned you and warned you. This project being placed up there off Oak Ridge Road, it is a death trap. I need you to hear this. It is a death trap. Not only will people be injured on that intersection, accidents happen all the time, blind line of sight with the bridge, you cannot fix that. There's all those issues. Now you have Oak Ridge Road that's not even a Title 12. People cannot evacuate. And how shameful is it that we overlook there is no evacuation plan in the SEPA? Shameful, shameful, shameful. Okay, now we have a new administration sitting here. You guys, thank you for what you're doing about not letting this industrial solar take over the beauty of the valley and all the farmlands. Thank you for that. But save us out here. Save us from this. This project does not belong here. The DNR has moved from here, so we no longer have the resources out of Houston that the Fire District 3 relied on. They're no longer Fire District 3. They're an RFA or whatever the heck they are, another corporation. So I don't know what they are. So, but anyway, they can't get the water. And the people who live here, who already inhabit this area, have made this our home. We will be injured if this project isn't allowed. So stand up for the citizens. Please have the hearings examiner open this back up and listen to the new evidence. There's a new road survey that we have spent our own money out of our own pocket to fight against our government. Now I'm asking my government to fight back for me and everybody who lives here. Please open it back up, allow more evidence, and let's not hurt the people who already live here. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for using your time wisely and efficiently. And for those on Zoom land, there is a little counter in the top right corner of your screen as you're talking. So keep mindful of that. And thank you for your comments. Do we have anybody else on Zoom land that has public comments for the Board of Commissioners today? Unmute yourself, raise your hand. Otherwise, get our attention. I see Lisa's screen, but I do not see a hand raised or an unmuting. Up there's an unmuting. Go ahead, Miss Evans.
Okay, yeah, good morning. My name is Lisa Evans and I live in White Salmon. And just the topic brought up of under canvas, my comments are, I agree the traffic along 141 has gotten a lot worse over the years. We've lived in the area just over 10 years, going on 11 years now. We've seen a huge increase in traffic trying to pull out of the Northwestern Lake area. There's a lot more people that use the Northwestern Park area. And so, we've seen a lot of traffic over the past 10 years, and the logging trucks, they just come flying down the road on 141. So when I saw the numbers in the report we're looking at increasing traffic in the area, 78,000 extra trips up and down the road in 1 year period. That's just mind boggling. I'm not sure we get that many trips, in a year or two, but to suddenly have that much come in so quickly is very alarming. So first of all, I do want to state that, Highway 141 coming out of the Northwestern Park area, we have a lot more traffic. I'd like to just put that on your radar as something that turnout lanes are really needed now. Never mind should something like under canvas come into the area. And then I would also like to, my other comment would be on under canvas is that, change is inevitable. I love where I live. I hate to see the change, but I know it's going to happen and we can't stop it. And my request would just be, let's manage it, right? Like the solar project, that was too big, too much, too fast. And I would argue the same thing for under canvas. There's a big difference between that much traffic, 50,000, 78,000 extra trips coming in a year, for that to build up over, 10, 20 year period. then we can plan for that and we can change for that. But you know, when you have that come in essentially overnight, we're just not going to be prepared for it at all. And it's very dangerous and very concerning. So, you know, yes, I understand change is coming, but there's also a much more realistic pace. And this falls on the taxpayers' shoulders in this area. So, you know, I'd like to just throw that out there of just consideration of there's a difference between progression over time, over years, over decades, versus just, you know, overnight we have this much traffic come in. And I agree, it's going to be very, very dangerous, and it's very concerning for those who live in the area. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. I do have one clarification question. You mentioned turnout lanes. What road specifically are you requesting turnout lanes?
For the Northwestern Park area, especially as we have had multiple new rafting companies come into the area to use it during the summer. You know, that's a lot more traffic, you know, and then these logging trucks come flying down the road. We can barely see around the bushes and the trees as it is. So
this
yeah.
isn't on 141 itself. This is on county roads that you're requesting turnouts.
Well, yeah, that's 141, right? Coming out of Northwestern Park on the 141.
Right. Okay. Well, that was my curiosity, is because we have no control over 141 as it's a state highway. But if you have requests for pullouts on a specific county road, then this board can inquire with Public Works on what that would take, or a traffic study to look into that. But I would need a specific road and specific location that your concern is, that is a county road of our jurisdiction.
Okay, well then it would be Northwestern Park Road.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right, still in citizen comment. Excuse me. Does anybody else online have citizen comments and want to provide testimony to the Board of Commissioners today? Raise your hand, unmute yourself. I see an Ann has unmuted themselves.
Yes, good morning. This is Ann down in Dallasport. And I would take a moment of your time in support of the ongoing issue with the Dallasport wastewater treatment plant. I will go on record as saying I do support the idea of an O&M contract being awarded to Dallasport Utility District. Give them an opportunity to run the plant. I think they will surprise you. I do believe that better local control of the wastewater treatment plant will equate to better local control of how the system is managed, and better local control of the rates by the ratepayers. And I think it's better long-term for the growth of the area. We all know Dallasport is about the only area that can grow anytime soon. And I think it's better going forward for both Dallasport and for Klickitat County as a whole. If it's better for Dallasport, I think by default it would be better for Klickitat County as a whole, for us to have more local control over our rate structure and as much of our infrastructure as we can. So just my comment. You folks have a good day.
Thank you, ma'am. Boy, I'm all full of clarification questions. This one's to staff. I know I meant to, but I don't know if I did. So before I forget, can we put it on next week's agenda when all three commissioners are here to have a discussion on the Dallasport wastewater O&M contract? I know I had you do something to a workshop agenda. Was that it, or was it something else regarding? Okay. Okay, thank you. Still in citizen comment. If anybody online has citizen comment for the Board of Commissioners, please raise your hand or unmute yourself. Don't see anybody. Looking through there to see if I see. All right, we'll do a last call for public comment before the Board of Commissioners. If you have testimony you want to give to the commissioners about something related to Klickitat County, now is your time to do so. Raise your hand or unmute yourself. Otherwise, get our attention, or we will move on with our regular business. Seeing none. Last call. I'll give everybody make sure in case you got something. All right, not seeing it. With that, we will close citizen comment for the day. And I will allow, well, my seatmate in this instance, if she has anything she would like to say.
Sure, I'll start with Anne, and thank you for checking in with us. We've received documents and letters, and we thank everybody down at Dallasport for working hard. And we want you to know we're following, we're building towards the time and place where we'll start looking into information and working on the Dallasport project. It's not off our radar. We have a couple of fires burning that we're moving through, and piece by piece, we get through each project, it seems like, but you're not forgotten. And thank you for checking in. And Sherry and Lisa, Under Canvas is on my radar. We're continuing conversations about it. We're working through legal issues on it. I do agree. The traffic study was a disappointment for me. So we'll have conversations about that. I'm familiar with Northwestern Lake and what you're talking about, Lisa. And for my seatmates' education, I lived at the bottom of that hill and ran one of the whitewater companies at that time. And just with the traffic back in the day when we were doing whitewater, there were every year several rear end accidents up at the top of that hill where Northwestern Lake Road intersects Dallas Highway 141. So also during that time, there was a huge impact at BZ Corners and the Houston Bridge area where the log trucks fly through and verse all of the rafters that are out on the bridges. Now we're talking about letting 200 cars a day down each of those roads to come into Highway 141 or turn off of 141. It needs an expanded look with the county in concert with the highway department to decide what's the carrying capacity of that highway versus how much more is the county allowing in recreation to cause a huge amount of traffic flow. So it's not off our radar, but thank you for checking in.
Okay, thank you. I guess I'll go backwards too and start with Ann. I'll let you know my opinion of the Dallasport wastewater treatment plant O&M contract. And that is, I believe that contract, this board owes it to its constituents all over this county, all of the taxpayers, to occasionally go out to public bid to make sure we are getting the best service for the best price. I do not believe that contract has went out to bid in decades or more. So it is my opinion that we should take it to bid, and that's why I have it coming forward on the agenda now that we have solar hopefully behind us and more time to spend on other things, that this board can have a discussion on where it wants to go from here. So hopefully turn in next week and we'll have some discussion for you. Lisa and Sherry. As we are currently in the midst of the under canvas, there are limitations on what I can say if I ever want to vote on the issue. If that issue comes before us in a quasi judicial nature, I have to appear fair and impartial. So with that, I can't or shouldn't get into comments about a specific project. With that, I will say that various projects and all new projects raise concerns for me, and I look at them very closely. And if you followed me at all for the last 3 years, you should know that. I believe this board will have conversations on under canvas, maybe even today. And this board will quickly need to choose a direction. With that, that's about all I can say and keep myself impartial, hoping that it will get before me again. Hopefully you understand. With that, that is the end of the comments, so we will move on to consent agenda.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was daydreaming. Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve consent agenda with 15 items.
Okay, I will step down and second the motion. Any discussion on approval of the consent agenda in full? Hearing none, all those in favor of approval of the consent agenda with 15 items, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
And Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the payroll warrant and certificate approvals. Accounts payable warrants in the amount of $522,778.73. And the payroll benefit warrants in the amount of $1,187,410.13 for the date ending November 27th, 2023.
Okay. I will step down and second that eloquently worded motion. Any discussion on paying the bills? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying the bills, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. With that, we are a smidge ahead of schedule. If the planning department is ready, we can move forward. And thank you for being here smidge early in case we're a smidge early.
You never know.
If we would have found something to talk about for 8 minutes, but
Well, better to be in the leadership.
Yeah. we would have found something. It's Lori would have thought of something.
Thank
I
you.
can't hardly get a word in edgewise.
I think that's opposite.
Just kind of reiterating the information from the planning commission after last week's meeting. Per their request, we got each of the planning commission members an additional copy of all their critical areas, drafts, and supporting documents. And then we will be having 3 workshops, December, January, and February. And through all this, it led me to realize that 3 of our planning commission members' terms expire at the end of the year or January 1st. So we have Rick Graves in District 1, Dave Barda in District 2, and he actually took Commissioner Zoller's place on the Planning Commission. And then we have Matt Spalding in District 3. And since last week, I had a lot of time talking to the various planning commission members, making sure they had the documents they needed. All 3 of them are willing to continue on and are actively involved with the critical areas update. So I know it's your call and whatever you guys would like to do, but we probably need to do something in the near future.
Years is that for?
It's a 4-year term.
Okay.
Yeah, I am aware.
Okay.
With my appointment, I don't have an answer yet.
Okay.
But I will make sure that we have an appointment in place by January 1st.
Sounds great.
And they are all 1, 2, and 3. Those.
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
which is nice.
Yes,
It's very-
each commissioner district has a representative. Well, actually, they have 3, but in this case, each district has 1 planning commission member that his
Is up.
term is nearly up.
Okay.
And then since I was looking into all that, the Board of Adjustment, all the members there are current and none of their terms expire until 26.
Is
Just,
that a 6-year term then?
yes.
Interesting. Okay. Interesting.
Yes. The zoning ordinance, since last week, you adopted the solar prohibition in the designated areas. We are now going through and updating our entire zoning ordinance, referencing in each of the applicable zones, including forest resource, open space, extensive ag, general rural, rural residential, rural center, residential, general commercial, industrial park, general industrial, tourist commercial, and the EOZ. So we have to go into our zoning ordinance and update each one of those sections with the applicable new text. So we're working on that, and then we'll obviously post it on the website. And as we're talking to people, especially realtors and other people who contact us regularly, surveyors, et cetera, just so they'll know of that update. Under Canvas, I know you've already talked about that. I know your office is getting a lot of comments and they're forwarded to both Public Works and Planning. I did touch base with Rebecca Cranston from the prosecutor's office, and she just said they're waiting for the hearings examiner's clarification. The appeal is still active and it's a closed record and not open for public testimony. And that was their comments.
End quote.
Yes.
You forgot to use the quotes there.
Oh, yes.
Just for
yes.
the public.
Most
That
definitely.
was quoted.
Yes. Bluebird Solar, there's no update on that. The year-end plat filings, as you well know on your agenda today, 6 between short plats and boundary line adjustments, 6 of them will be coming to you. And then next Tuesday, December 5th, 7 of them will be coming to you. And yes, it's that mad rush before the December 5th freeze in the assessor's office with the values. We do have a question with some of our permit routings. Obviously, we've been quite busy with a lot of things, but now getting back to routing, whether it's short plat applications with SEPA and or some more simple conditional use applications and stuff that do have SEPA. And I know we've kind of discussed briefly, or I had a list of kind of small scale projects versus big scale projects. And then last week you said maybe bring the projects to you. So just, I think the other thing that I then realized is don't want to create a conflict of interest or something, because if SEPA decisions are appealed, then they go to the Board of County Commissioners. So somehow need some direction without.
Right. So I believe twofold. I believe 2 options. You can either choose which ones you feel comfortable thinking should go rather easily and which
Okay.
ones won't. Or if you are in doubt with a project that might be a little big in scale, then you can come forward and ask the board on this project, how would you like me to proceed?
Okay.
And that way you're not left hanging out over a bridge by yourself. But that way we can, project is whatever, we can say, yeah, I think that's probably going to be a big one. Let's go with a consultant for that. And it shouldn't raise any conflicts.
Okay.
If we're not hearing about the project or taking action or anything on the SEPA itself, then we should be good.
And that makes sense. Thank you for the clarification. And then I
You're
am,
okay with that?
Yes,
Okay,
that works.
just making
Yes,
sure I
was-
have a
I was
quorum
nodding.
and it's not just my opinion over here.
Lori and I were making eye contact.
Okay.
yes. And then still working with Public Works on the request for proposals, and that we do have outlined some of the bigger projects that are going on or will be going on. And I think Jeff Hunter may have a bit of an update on that. And sorry, I didn't take a whole half hour.
No, hey.
Hopefully the other people are,
That's awesome.
are coming soon. So you're,
Did you hear, Lori?
yeah,
No, thank you. I want to thank you and staff up there for taking all this on, and it's going to be an interesting year for y'all, with new management, and hopefully we can get a new director in there sooner rather than later. We have some very good applications. So I just want to say I'm thankful for all of you for getting us through this time.
well, thank you, and we'll continue on and do what's needed and go forth.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Thank you, and have a great day and all.
You too. Well, while we have a minute, I'm going to go searching something. So bear with us, we're gonna get some dead air space. Interesting. I was just eyeballing the Board of Adjustment appointments. Looks like District 1 will have one in 2026, 2 will have one in 2027, 2028. And both the appointments from mine are 2029, which I was
Wow,
unaware of.
that's a long time.
Well, and they're 6-year terms, but it looks like it was approved in the January of 2023. Mine, and I don't remember that.
Years
so.
ago, we had no time on planning commission. You were appointed, you were just there for life.
I understand they're for life, but I'm a firm
Isn't that
believer in
something?
term limits.
No, I think change is good sometimes.
I'm one of those, I think change has to happen as a community or an area grows and develops. I think fresh ideas are always good. And so to me, that's part of my planning commission quandary. Is Mr. Spalding has been a very valuable member of that planning commission and in good regard. But he's also sat there a very long time.
Mhm. Drives
and
a long
I-
ways.
I have a candidate that's wanted on that board for 4 years, Mr. Childs, who has shown that took the Board of Adjustments, thankfully, even though he wanted planning commission. He's been appointed to our Title 12 road standards to help us. He's been appointed to our solar liaison for FSAC to help us, and I think he's done a marvelous job. So it's one of those, do I reward him for his hard work? Or do I tell him he's got to wait another 4 years?
He has a great background
Mhm.
for planning and
Hence the quandary.
mhm.
Mr. Spalding, other than his longevity in office,
Dedicated.
has done nothing to offend. So I have a hard decision on my plate, and so I need a little time. But that's where I'm at. So we are done until 10 o'clock with Public Works unless We want to do a little board updatey stuff. I don't know. Technically, I wouldn't want to talk about the under canvas before 9:45 because people might be tuning into that. But
Right, and I need to
the,
think about some.
the condon water right, we can do early. There's not a bunch of people wanting to turn into that. I will advise you, which I probably need to advise next week as well. So Commissioner Anderson knows I did go to the landfill gas grant meeting between us and the PUD. The grant was denied, which I can't say that surprises me at all. I fully was expecting it to be denied, but that's not the reason I asked. I asked for that grant in that meeting to gain myself an education, and I got it. So I'm very pleased at
Mhm.
the outcome, or maybe not the outcome, but what I learned. So that will be nice. End of that discussion. Condon water right. So as I'm sure you are aware, you got the email, the expert legal people that we have working on the water right are out of town and can't give us an update until they get back. Their recommendation is to transfer the water right to a trust and ecology, at least to keep it safe. Because they're not sure if it has to be done by the end of the year or the first of the year, depends on ecology's interpretation. There's also a recommendation to water bank it. I have no worries about putting it in an ecology trust to keep it safe. I do have 950,000 questions, comments, concerns on the water banking part of it.
Yeah.
Who's water bank? Who gets control? What's the value? Where's
As I understand, that's not even created yet.
no.
Okay.
And before it gets created, we need to know the answers to all the questions
Correct.
to make sure we know what's going on. Because again, I think this board needs to look holistically at a county and maybe set up its own water bank.
And I'm confused a little bit because in a conversation with Commissioner Anderson last week, he stated that we have chosen to put it back in trust with ecology, which I was going to ask ecology, has it been in trust? And if it has, that means it's already been transferred to the county's name. So I'd like to check those facts with ecology.
There's some reading the attorney's documents. It does look a little messy. It sounds like it was in trust through the previous owner, not through the
Okay.
county. But now we have to put it in trust through the county,
Okay.
and so that was how
That
I read
answers
that.
that.
That's how I read that document. The county has not, even though the county has the paperwork to officially own it, they're not recorded through ecology as owning it because the paperwork's never been filed. So
Can you share the documents with me?
I'm pretty sure it got emailed to you, but maybe it didn't.
Yeah. And I might have
Um,
missed it over the holiday pileup of.
It was Wasac meeting
Yeah.
pileup. Rebecca BOCC me is who it was sent.
Okay, I'll check my files. I'll find it.
Yeah, write down the date.
Okay.
Wednesday, the 15th
Okay,
at 8:13, and it was from Rebecca. So BOC probably sent it to you.
yeah,
Why don't I just,
I can get it. That's okay.
there you go. Yeah. Yeah, we'll just tell staff to go into my emails on that date. It's actually in my open email box, about 15 down. And if you can, or I can just, I don't want to print it, confidential attorney-client privilege. Well, that's what I was just trying to do, is forward that one to you. Let's do that. And hopefully it comes with the attachment. The attachment is there, so send. Okay, now you should be able to just send it to her. So the question is, yes, we need to figure out what we're gonna do as far as water banking or whatever. But that should not slow down the process of getting it in a trust temporarily to make sure we don't lose it. So they need guidance from this board on whether they can A, move forward trying to get it in the ecology trust so we don't lose it, and B, the water banking. But the water banking can be done at a later date if we can advise them to move forward on the trust.
And they'll help us move forward with the water banking too,
And
help us create it.
well, and was my question. I would like this legal person to do a roundtable with this board and educate, because I don't even know how many
Thank you.
acre feet it is. I don't know what its value is. And I think all that needs to be very open and very transparent. Right here in this room, so every citizen can know what we plan to do with it.
Thank you.
I just needed consensus from the board to reply to Rebecca and say, move forward with at least the transfer or the,
Request to ecology.
yeah,
Mhm.
okay. Which she's probably. I can't even think of the word I'm looking for. The trust, yeah. Typing an email, so everybody has to have patience.
Yes.
Morning, how are you? Good. Great. Then I'm sorry. I mean, I got it on set. Purchasing training.
Your head's full. Slow down.
I'm just curious. I mean, we're sending. But I knew about it. I appreciate that I was here. No, it's okay. Good. No, because sometimes I might.
All right, email sent. They've been advised.
Thank you.
Pleaser. And thank you for coming in early. You must have heard we were open. Lori didn't want to hear me talk anymore, so she's like, call them and tell them.
That's-
I have other sources, yes.
Yes, you do. So next up, we will start our 10 o'clock early, and it is department update with Public Works. And before us, we have Director Jeff Hunter and County Engineer Sesperola. Whenever you're ready, gentlemen.
Okay, this will be quicker than last week. Last week, we kind of had a lot of things to present. We don't have as much this time. So we have a couple pay estimates on one to Day Wireless in the amount of $212,502. And this is for the tower portion of the project. This is pay estimate number 2, and we have pay estimate number 2 to Day Wireless also. This is a different group of Day Wireless, and this is for the radio equipment. This is for $47,065. And first and final pay estimate to the Columbia River contractors in the amount of $73,939, and this and 92 cents. And this is for the guardrail repair from the fire and from the logging out on Canyon Road.
So this is, was that whole price just from that one issue?
2 issues. One was the fire and one was the Canyon Road, but I believe, I don't know which one. I don't know how they break out, but
Okay, no,
That's
that
the
was gonna
person
be my
part.
other question
Yeah.
is how much was Canyon and
I think I should be able to tell you.
I'm assuming we've gotten, we did get a ton of complaints about the guardrail from the citizens on Canyon. I'm assuming now we've gotten a ton of thank you letters.
No, I
No.
wouldn't hold the breath. Let's see. Canyon Road was 37, 48, 49, 50. Canyon Road was the brunt of it.
Yeah.
It's over 50,000.
Okay. Good answer. Also, before I forget, I've noticed you guys have been out brushing and I love the outcome so far.
Yep, we'll keep doing that till we get snow, which is projected for Thursday.
I was gonna say, I thought it was Friday, but maybe it moved up.
It might be Friday. Go ahead.
All right, construction end of things, the white plastic edge lines again has been suspended for the winter. Per warning signs and guideposts, we're still waiting on a start date. The 2023 crushing contracts and bonds have been sent to the contractor for signature. They're hoping to get started soon. Pickleton area paving, we're working through the award process with WashDOT and a contractor. On road design, we have one more parcel left, which hopefully this week we can tie up for Sundale and Old Highway 8. The data collection ball banking project, we have a kickoff meeting this week and they're hoping to start the following week.
Can you give us, I'm sure you've told me about that, but right now I'm pulling a blank. What is data collection ball banking?
We've hired a company to come through and evaluate curves on all of our major roadways. And it'll prepare us for our next phase of safety project. So they're going to measure how fast you can take a curve basically at a safe speed and compile all the curve data for us.
Okay.
The bridge repair bundles project, we're working through the RFP process with WashDOT. And 2024 annual striping contract and plans are being assembled so we can get that out to bid this winter. And other preliminary work continues.
Okay, just to follow, data collection is paid for on a federal grant. On the east end, we're brushing, we're doing a dig out for the sale barn. There was a bunch of soft material and we took out the
Are there water lines, electrical lines under where that bridge is or building is going, or?
There is a crossover water line under there. Electrical lines are overhead. But it's not a real major thing. It'll, should be fine.
If we have a bad water line later underneath concrete, we can just probably stab a new one under and connect differently and.
We
Not
better
if they
not
dig it
have
all
a
up.
bad one. We just replaced it, so it's brand new PVC, so it should have a 40 to 50 year life. So we shouldn't have any issues under. We better not. That's all I got to say.
Okay.
West End, we're brushing in the Snowden and Glenwood area and replacing some culverts in Appleton. Again, this is the type of work we typically do this time of the year. And we're hoping for no snow. Upcoming facilities, the window graphics, picnic table, everything is complete. Last thing we have to do that is associated with this building is drop that one connection line out there.
And the pictures, I keep reminding you of
Yes,
that.
in the pictures, yes.
Eventually, you're gonna put that on your list, so it reminds you every week.
I know. Well, I remind somebody we're still trying to run the person down, but yes, we have that to finish. And then we will be compiling final cost and everything. So you'll see what's left in the fund.
Question for you. With the pictures in the hallway, we have some little detailed description that staff has been so nicely made up for me. How would you like those affixed to the wall? Is that little 3M sticky tape type stuff, or you figure it out and send buildings and grounds my way and have them let me know or provide me a product so I don't destroy your walls?
We can put it up. Just give us the stuff.
I just have to know which spot they go to, but you can figure it out, but.
Yeah, you let me know which one goes on which, and then we will put them
Okay, I'll figure out a way.
up. Okay. Jail roof replacement, we're just working through the manufacturer's warranty punch list items. The manufacturer comes out, does a walkthrough of the roof. And then they created a punch list, so we're working the contractor to finish that. Exhibit building installation project should be completed by next week. Superior Court's the same way. Wish Ram park improvements, picnic table needs to be installed. The project is complete. Events, we have the Christmas Bazaar sale at Dallasport Community Center coming up. I have not heard, they've asked for it. I've not heard about a fee waiver. They paid last year. It's kind of a money making thing and it's not that big of a fee. Christmas tree decorating is scheduled for next week. So we're prepared for the tree lighting ceremony on the 9th. Winter riding, we talked about. Fuel Island, we've talked about. We're starting the auditor's voting area Monday, December 13th.
Oh, good.
We will disassemble, and if you would like, I can talk to Frank and move him.
Okay.
I will take care of that next week then, and we will get Frank,
And
because he already knows he's getting.
And did you get my email that, okay.
I did. We went down, we looked at it, we talked to, I'm gonna forget her name.
Harley.
There you
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
And so we are going to move. She's cleaning out. There's not very much
No,
stuff in
there's
there.
nothing in there.
So we're gonna clean that. She'll clean that out and then we'll move them in and
Right. And we'll have to make arrangements for Frank to have a key probably.
yes, yeah, we'll make sure he has a key
Okay,
to
thank
get
you.
in this building and to get in.
That's awesome.
Yes,
Thank
we'll
you.
take care of all that. SATA's passed. We just have a few punch list items that need to be complete. Mainly, we're waiting on parts. That's why, on a new antenna. And then some other issues. Franchise, just giving you a heads up, franchise agreements. We have 2 of them percolating through the system. We've updated our franchise agreement stuff. We're waiting to get feedback from one is for one is countywide and it's for fiber. Because they're, there's more Fed dollars to install fiber. And so we definitely want to franchise with them. And then the other one is with Carriager. So we're working through that process. We're not ready for that, but that's coming on the heels. We did receive the grant for the beef or for the livestock barn. We were successful. We got the $250,000. So we're moving ahead. We're moving ahead anyway. But and yes, when our crews do work, they can't do work, under road budget. So yes, the fair board is paying for the work that when we took down the fair office and all that.
Well, that was my next question is, were they paying for the work of digging out the soils?
Yes,
And whatnot? Okay.
all that's paid for by the fair board.
Got it.
Because I don't have any capacity to absorb it in
Right.
buildings and grounds budget, and I think you guys wouldn't be real pleased if we did that. So, but we're putting it. No, the fair board and Ron knows all that. They chose to go that route. We could do a contractor could dig out the soft spots, but it's going to be much more expensive. Just kind of giving you the heads up. Amory Road kind of got displaced during the fire by some cats, and then one of the locals thought they would help, so they actually went and plowed it under. So we are reestablishing our road in case you hear.
Where exactly is that?
Amory Road is on the east side.
Right, is it on the old highway 8 section, or is it over by the landfill?
Still highway.
Don't have the
Yeah,
Goodnow area.
Yeah, Goodnow area.
Okay.
And we've received a complaint from the property owner down the road that says, I'm not driving through plowed up field to get to my facility. And then the end of that road is actually the tri-bone. It's a big piece of property down there. So we're gonna reestablish. It's not much of a road anyway, but it is county right of way. It actually is owned in fee by the county. So
Is it a primitive road or is it a maintained road?
no, it's basically a 2-track. It really wasn't. It's primitive. It really wasn't maintained, but now there's no road. There's nothing. They just got plowed under.
Huh.
So it's,
Wow.
you know, and we talked to the person that was involved. They said they were helping us. They thought they were helping us out. We said, okay, we'll put it back this time. If it happens again, you'll pay to put it back. Okay, one other thing on our list, we have a couple RFPs. I'm working with Lori. Ours is almost done for planning. So I'm working with Lori to fine tune it. And then we have an RFP that's gonna go out for the airport. And I think that's all we have. I'm sure there's something else, but if not, we'll remember next week.
Got some things done. I have a question on fairgrounds.
Okay,
If the move happens where coming up first of the year, we have to work through our contract with WSU by the first of the year. And moving someone back out to that WSU space, is that ready and available? Do we need to do anything out there?
again, it just depends. They were out there before. It depends on what the board decides. I mean, there's heat, there's cooling,
Okay.
there's everything in that facility. You know, if they want, it's more of an open space type of thing where what they call the WSU room.
Mhm.
It's kind of a rub for me, sorry, it goes way back because somebody wrote for a grant and so then they laid claim to the room. That was the case, I would own the whole fairgrounds, but that's here on that.
And when we get ready.
Jeff Hunter. Look at that.
Because I wrote all the grants for all the other stuff. But
Yeah.
anyway, no, unless they want offices, then you'd have to build something in. But
Well,
we
yeah.
haven't done it.
Budget for that.
No.
Right, and they haven't done it in the past because they actually pull out of there anyway during the fair.
And keys, if there's keys, come to you for keys.
Yeah, they
And
have keys, but we could give.
some of the storage things that have to be moved, there's quite a few shelving units in the one room. Do those go with the items to the WSU room or are those particular to that office downstairs? Do they stay in that office?
We'll leave them in that office, the shelf, because it's all built in.
It's a storage
Yeah.
room. Okay, I
Yeah.
didn't know if it was built in or not. I
Yeah,
didn't look.
in there where the desk is and everything, where Hannah's office was, that's where we're gonna put Frank.
Right,
And that's all built in.
right.
Kind of
that's-
built in.
yeah, I
I
was
mean, you could
thinking-
disassemble it, but
We
There's no
don't-
sense in
It's kind of, the furniture needs to stay because it's all matching and it's
Okay.
all,
It
you
all
don't want to
came
take
with
it
the
apart
room.
too many times or.
Okay.
Right,
go back
exactly.
together.
Okay,
we don't want
And
to
and the
store. it.
shelving is all.
I
built
didn't
in
know if
for
it
a
had
storage
came
unit,
with
so.
when they
Yeah.
moved in, but it belonged to the building. Okay,
Yes, yeah, we try just like Commissioner Christopher, we try not to move that stuff. Cause then, first of all, it's big, it's bulky. I gotta find a place to store it.
Right.
Where it doesn't get all marred up and everything. So we prefer to leave it in place.
okay.
And that will be better.
Did you get a time frame on when they're moving out there or are we still in
No,
discussions
we're
or?
waiting. And I sent Elise a copy, maybe you can copy them on my emails to WSU and to Hannah. And I reminded that she needed to remove the things from West End and that Frank needed to move immediately. And then I notified WSU of our choices that we have to do this for new staffing for the county and that we're waiting for them to get us that contract and we have to have it before the first of the year because of budget considerations.
All right, okay.
So we're moving.
Yes, we're moving forward on
Yeah.
that. There's no question.
Yeah.
I guess I have one other question then. Do we have any thoughts on the corner? I mean, I don't care how you set the corner up, just where do you want to put the corner?
To me, until we figured out what the heck we're doing with a coroner,
Okay,
is it gonna be appointed or elected? Which I think we've chosen, we kind of want appointed, but I think we need to work through that process and find out how we go about that and talk to the potential appointed person to find out what they need or what they want. I would hate to designate an area that could be up here, it could be in the sheriff's office, we don't know.
right.
What
But-
they need or what they want. So I would hate to make a determination until I actually have facts.
Well, and that's something I explained to WSU with the situation in our contract. It said an office. And there were actually 3 offices and 4 offices and a big storage room commandeered. So we had to take those back because of new contracts and new employees. And so we'll have lots of space if even all, the one upstairs, all of WSU goes to fairgrounds. We would have lots of space.
Okay, I just, you know, if you had any ideas, I wanted to hold it because, you know, space is a commodity around here. And once something opens up, somebody wants to lay claim to it.
No,
They have to ask
we're
us,
well
so.
aware of the coroner issue and the value of the space, and I at least won't be one to vote it away. Okay, I do have a question since you were talking about heating and cooling.
Okay,
I have received complaints the last 2 weeks that the conference room in the courthouse is ice cold and the heating panel doesn't even power up to do anything. So it sounds like they've made their first complaint to Buildings and Grounds today. So Buildings and Grounds probably didn't even know about it. I just wanted to make you aware of it so you can keep on that one.
yeah, we heard about it. We've looked into it. We are evaluating it as a problem with the unit. So
The unit or the board?
I think it's the unit. I don't
Ah.
know. I'm afraid it's the compressor, but let's hope not. It's not that old of a unit.
Fun.
But we'll find out and get some heat in there. I mean, we've reduced the heat, yes, but not that low.
I also told them that they weren't allowed to have space heaters and they said, good luck with that. So.
Okay, good to know.
So you might run into space heaters in that building, and if you do, let us know.
We run into space heaters in multiple buildings, but we haven't actually, you know, we can have that as a different, as we haven't actually set that policy in place yet.
It hasn't, but
Yeah, when you know, when we're ready and when the board's ready, we'll make sure everybody's aware of it.
we'll have to buy electric blankets for everybody.
Well, we're saving money. That doesn't really save us money.
That costs money. Space heaters are more expensive.
Exactly. So people wear long johns.
I'm gonna get in trouble if I keep talking. I'm gonna end this conversation.
Okay,
Do you have anything else for these fine
No.
gentlemen? No?
We'll stop.
okay, thank you.
Keep doing what you're doing, and I apologize that you signed up for what you're doing. You wanted it, I gave it to you, and now you're gonna, uh-oh. You wanna do pay estimates before we?
Sure.
Okay, I know.
Pop off? We have the Public Works pay estimates, all 3 of them.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve pay estimate number 2 for the Satis Pass Radio Tower project in the amount of $228,439.67.
Okay, I will step down and second that motion. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of approval of pay estimate number 2 for the Satis Pass Radio Tower, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passed.
And Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the pay estimate 2 for Satis Pass radio site equipment installation in the amount of $50,595.11.
Okay, I'll step down and second that motion. We have a motion and a second to pay estimate number 2 to Satis Pass Radio Tower equipment installation. Any discussion on that one? Hearing none. All those in favor of approval, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
And Mr. Chairman, I make a motion for the approval of the first and final payment estimate for SWC 2023 guardrail repair in the amount of $77,831.50.
I will step down and second that motion. Any discussion? And I would just say, I hope the citizens over there now understand you can reach out to your county
Mhm.
and tell us your safety issues, and we will do what we can to help you in as expedited a time frame as we can. With that, any further discussion?
No, and we beat the weather on that one.
We beat the weather on that one. We beat the winter.
Mhm.
But thank you for bringing it to our attention. With that, we have a motion and a second to approval of first and final pay estimate to SWC for guardrail repair. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approval, say aye.
I,
Aye, motion passes. Next item, and we're still running a smidge ahead, is a department update with Public Health Director Erin Quinn. Good morning.
I assume that you all got the packet that I sent
Yep.
over. Okay. I'm gonna bring a new behavioral health sheet this afternoon because the one I provided is not correct, and frankly, a lot of the numbers have changed significantly in the last week, so just want to make sure you have the most updated information, so. Just go ahead and start with environmental health. They're definitely slowing down through the season. It's typical in December. The field work is expected to be slow. They're still doing some final inspections. Site evaluations are still done throughout the winter season. But it depends obviously on the weather and whether that can be finished or not. All of our drinking water surveys are completed for the year, with state DOH and all field work, and technical assistance is all taken care of. Our water lab samples have been pretty comparable to what they've been in the last couple of years, so no real changes there towards the end of the year. And then throughout the winter, staff then changed their focus to really working with some policy around the state and the foundational public health services money. So safe and healthy schools, zoonotic disease reporting, drinking water capacity, and then working with the state to develop some data collection systems for metrics for the county and the state. So they're all working on those projects throughout the winter. Clinical health, they're doing an outreach today out at Roosevelt. A couple of the nurses are out there supporting an event at the school. They've been supporting the substance abuse outreach with Narcan distribution and at the schools and other events throughout the county.
Question,
Yes.
since you mentioned Narcan, do we have the ability in the county to provide Narcan to departments or elected officials, offices or whatnot in case there's funny packages with fentanyl on them? And
All you have to do is call our office and say you want some. There's a small amount of training that the nurses will do, but anybody can call.
Okay.
It's not like you can't just drop it off at the office.
See something from emergency management. That's who's up there right now.
yeah, no, I'll go ahead. Emergency management, you had your hand up.
Yeah, we already made that offer to certain departments after the threatening letter.
All right, you're a rock star, sir. That's why you're hired. Thank you for that. Y'all are ahead of me. I don't have to do anything. I can just go home. You got this handled.
No, we'll provide it to anyone that calls.
Well, I would hope that our staff would, going into the next year, when we don't know what that would be, but very contentious, I would think it would be a wise decision that vulnerable offices like us or the auditor have that training and have that on staff or on hand. So
Yeah. So public health is offering that right now,
perfect.
just to be clear, because that gets confusing later. Both environmental health and public health or clinical health are gonna have updates to their fee schedules this afternoon. And I'll talk about it again this afternoon. Environmental health, we haven't updated our fees since 2019, but really have just updated our review fees and admin costs. I think we talked about that when the short-term rentals came up, and frankly, our hourly rate did not cover our staff time and benefit rates. So we've updated that, but we can go over that this afternoon as well. Administratively, all of our positions are currently filled in public health. We fiscally are working on updating our bars as they were supposed to have been done in 2020 and have never been completed. So we're about halfway through that project and are getting really good support from both the auditor's office and Pam Byerly in Public Works to get that squared away. So we're grateful for that. I have 5 contracts pending for public health right now that you may see in the next couple of months or in the next month or so. So the state amendment, the one that we send through, so amendment 16 should be here by the end of the year. We'll send that through. I don't know what will be on that yet, but just a heads up that it's coming. Village Reach is we have a contract with them to do an after action report as we were required to do by a state deliverable. We didn't finish the project in the time of the contract allowance, so they're providing us with an amendment to extend it till I think till the end of the year. So that's just, it's not any more money, it's just an extension of the contract. We are looking at a contract with Smart Sheets that will allow us to build a project for public health, because we felt like the cost of having them build the project first was actually a huge cost savings for us in our learning curve. So that's coming through. We are potentially losing our contract for dietitian services. And so we're looking at a new contract. Currently, up until now, we had contracted with Mid-Columbia Medical Center. They're now Adventist Health. They changed their rates from $55 to $75 an hour. And I didn't feel like that was conducive to our budget. So we are looking at other options. So there will be a contract coming. What that looks like, I'm not quite sure yet, but it'll be on. And then we are requesting in the next couple of weeks a stipend for one of our new nurses is bilingual and has been a huge add in translating for our clients. So that will be on there. Questions about public health?
Thank you for your diligence.
And then behavioral health, just to cover some of the stuff that's happened in there. We did complete our first DOH audit. We have not received the results yet. We haven't gotten any feedback one way or another, but during the course of the audit, they did give us very positive feedback, given that we were a startup, and they were very gracious about there were definitely things that we need to improve and build on. Some of them we were unaware of, but we're getting those things fixed right away. And still, once we get that right up, I'll have that conversation with the board how that went. So we did celebrate our first birthday as a department. So that was November 1st. So we've been a county department for years. So we had a little event over there. There was 5 of us, I think. We had some cake though. It was nice.
I would have shown up the cake.
Yeah.
No, we weren't quite that organized. I apologize. Party planning is not part of the services I offer. We are anticipating our first delivery of furniture on Monday, so I'm very excited about that. Because I had planned to have that in by July 1st, so I'm a little late. So
I know how that goes.
yeah, we did finish our contract with the sheriff's office. It's not back yet. That contract is completed. What that will allow is for one of our DCRs to actually ride along with one of the deputies. And the intent of the contract and the program is that they will prevent, or they will help mitigate, so that the people that they're seeing in crisis in their own space do not end up in the hospital system or in the crisis system. So it's just kind of in some aspects, it's de-escalation. So we're working on getting all the policies and procedures together for that, with the intent that hopefully around the first of the year, we'll start actually supporting the sheriff's office in that way. I'm still having challenges with credentialing. We've talked about that before. However, one of the Medicaid organizations, Community Health Plan of Washington, has recognized that they can see that our application is in progress. So they're willing to start moving forward, that since they can see my application is there, even though it can take up to 90 days to get it approved, or any feedback about whether we're credentialed or not, they can start moving forward with contracts. So in that, because they can see that we made progress, they did just send us a check for $48,000 enhancement monies just to use to help build our program. So really that's going to do 2 things for us at this time. Really, it's going to help with just my month-to-month cash flow, just keeping a really close eye on that. And we're running a little bit more lean than I am comfortable with. So that will just kind of give me a little bit of buffer. But also it's going to pay for, one of the things we've identified is that we're going to need a new electronic medical record. I don't remember if last year we did an RFP. We had someone come in. We had a contract with someone. They weren't able to meet our needs, and I dissolved that relationship. And so this time we're going to work with a consultant that specifically deals with EHR development for behavioral health agencies. So they'll do all the homework for us. They'll come in and say, what would you like? What's important to you? And then they'll say, these are good fits for your organization.
Okay.
And so that's part of what I'm going to use that $48,000 for. So you'll see that contract hopefully coming through soon as well. And then I think just contracts pending, so it's XPO Health is the one I just talked about that we're working on. All of our crisis responder contracts come due December 30th, so you'll see those coming through. Chris, our consultant, is gonna stick with us for another 6 months, so you'll see his as well, and then potentially one more contract before the end of the year for some additional costs for furniture. So,
Doing good.
thank you. And I have found money for all of these things, just.
With you, I'm not worried about you asking for money because I don't know that you ever have.
I did once. Yeah.
But I'm more going in my brain, breathe,
Yeah, I know. I've got recently told that.
and
I'm working on it.
and I worry about your mental health. I worry about your stress.
It's coming together.
And yeah, I worry about you not being able to see patients yourself and get back into that. So I want to push and encourage you to try to bring our new mental health person on board and transition yourself so you have some time to do what you want to do.
Correct.
out of this job as well.
2024. Big
Okay,
goals,
I'm gonna
just
hold you
saying.
to it.
Good.
I'm gonna hold you to it.
Good.
I'm going to, and that's we're gonna have to do a little bit better time. I am going to do a little bit better time management, so to protect all those things. So
Well, that's, yeah. You do great. I just worry about you.
thank you.
So
I'll figure it out.
anything else for,
No,
you're my stress ball.
Yeah.
I have a new
Kind of.
off time project to share with you that
Oh.
someday I'll come by and see.
Yes, no,
and
I-
drop off
Yeah,
something for you.
I'll show
Yeah.
you my, I'll show you mine.
Okay.
Little project as
Good.
well. So thank you.
I'm gonna
Our-
come
our
by one
mental
of these
health
days. I'm gonna wait
projects.
till they get a psychiatrist and then I'm gonna come visit and see the couch.
I'm not getting a couch, sorry. That's not on the agenda. Did you wanna, if you guys wanna buy us a couch though?
A psychiatrist couch. I
Yeah.
can tell them about my issues.
You can be the commissioner donated couch.
Could be,
Yeah, we could put a name plaque on
yeah.
Donated by.
Yeah, right. I don't know if you
The
want
Dan
a
Christopher
behavioral
couch.
health wing named after you or a couch.
Yeah,
for behavioral
that's
health.
perfect. Absolutely perfect.
I digress. Okay, we move forward.
All right, I'll be
Thank
back
you.
this afternoon.
Oh, no, that's
Thank
What are
not
you
good.
on for this afternoon for? I'm not seeing you.
Get work at 2.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
I'm like, God, I didn't see that here.
No, I'll be
Okay.
back.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
one-liner.
Yippity skippity. Moving along, we are ready for a sheriff's update, but we are a little early and we don't have a sheriff. here.
Shirtless. Mhm.
So we will find something else to chat about for the next 12 minutes.
I'd like to, I think I'll send Aaron a email, but thinking about it, I'd like to make sure all the front offices on the main floor have availability to Narcan. That's where we have our most visitors. And I think just having it in an
Front
office.
offices,
Just like secretaries at the front, walking into senior
Well,
citizens, walking into each one of those departments on the main floor.
we have a choice. We, as the policymakers in this county, can let the departments under our control know that we feel it's important that they do it. Or we can put a policy in place that it's mandatory that they do it. I'd hate to have to
Yeah.
go that route,
Yeah,
but
there may be some.
in some regards, you're probably gonna have to, so.
Just if it's available.
But it's definitely available, but it's one of those that I think a lot of times, even without the policy, if you just have the conversations with that director
Yeah.
and say, hey, I think it's a safe bet. And I personally, I look at it from a risk management litigation standpoint. If we knew there was potential risk and we didn't put a policy in place to mitigate said risk, and something happened, and you just opened a door, a huge door. that I think we as a board can ask nicely. And as long as they do it, great. If they don't, then we need to be a little more direct in our asking. But technically, I think there should be at least one person who's in the office every day, usually, trained to administer, and in some cases, a backup as well, in case it's that person that needs it. But
And I've warned
not
you,
that-
I know how to use that shocker machine.
Just you or?
Be over.
Okay, I hope so, because you don't sound like you can speak today.
I wanted to catch
Oh, Public Works,
Public Works and Aaron's.
got a road that needs fixed or guardrail that needs replaced
I
or,
live in town.
I know.
That's a city issue.
There's no money, it doesn't matter.
They have less money than we do.
I need a. It's funny we talk about heating in offices. You know, they put in, when they remodeled our offices, they put in all new ductwork. And for some reason, my office is a good 10 degrees cooler than everywhere else.
It's so random. It is here
It
too.
makes no sense whatsoever.
Huh.
I freeze in my office.
I think Elise is warm and Leanne is freezing. It's cold in here. Yeah, I should have pointed it
It's
out.
pretty warm in here compared to my
Oh.
office.
Right up here, it's very cold.
Speak for yourself.
Well, you're over there. And then my lights are random too.
And then
We've
your
had that
commissioners are
conversation.
cheap, so they turn the temperature gauge down 2 degrees, so try to save money. So it's gonna be a little 2 degrees chillier for everybody.
Yeah.
Get a space heater. No. I just got one of those for a reason, the little oil ones.
Oh, yeah.
They're really safe. Man, they work really well.
I have a little plug-in one in my bathroom, because my bathroom's only 5 foot
Mhm.
across, it's very tiny. And it
I,
gets-
I have one in the bathroom because we don't heat the bathroom.
we don't either.
And, but when you get up in the morning and need to go take a shower, yeah, no, this space heater goes on for 5 minutes.
And mine's just this little one that just plugs into the wall, because there's no room in the floor.
And it works good.
Especially like, if we have we know we're doing long-term cold spells, so my
Yeah.
pipes don't freeze.
Yeah.
And
I
very
will
well,
warn you, I am well aware of the cost to the power bill of a space heater. When I left for the weekend and left it on,
Oh, no.
just for 3 days, my power bill was huge
Oh.
that month.
So my father-in-law lives in Clarkston, and I don't know if you guys see the big reports that a couple weeks ago that the natural gas, they had a natural gas line up by Pullman, went offline that supplied all the gas to Lewiston and Clarkston and those
Oh.
areas. They had no gas for over a week,
Wow.
which meant my father-in-law had no heat. So
Hmm.
yeah, I don't know what his power bill is gonna be, because I noticed he had 3 little space heaters he had been using.
Oh.
So-
Yeah. Well, and the space heaters are also, and we'll do a public service announcement for everybody on Zoom land. If you do have a space heater, please don't plug it into a surge protector. Although the fire department will be happy to come put your fire out, we really don't want to. So don't plug your
Really?
space heater into a surge protector.
Why?
Too
does it
much
do?
power demand on a surge protector.
Uh-huh.
They draw far too much power.
Shut you off.
Interesting, because I'm seeing it on my end. There it is.
You're back.
Yeah.
Is it the operator? Okay.
We'll blame it on Leanne. How many think it's Leanne's fault? You probably blew the circuit with your space heater under the desk. I digress again. I know I need to stay on topic. I get a little. I'm killing 6 minutes. It's comedy hour.
Mhm.
Were you stressing last week being in that chair? I didn't
did
see
good.
it.
She did good. It was a very long day. We had a lot of items on the agenda last week. We packed.
I only worked Monday last week, so.
Oh.
If I don't use some vacation time, I'm gonna lose it, so.
You get vacation?
I don't know that I would have called last week vacation, but, I have some hours.
I scheduled my first vacation
Wow.
next year in April, so
Good for you.
I'm looking forward to it.
What are you doing? Or if you don't want to tell, fishing?
No, I haven't, my boat has not left my house in 2 years. If anybody wants 50 gallons of fuel,
Yeah.
I have 50 gallons of fuel I will give you. It is ethanol fuel. So I'm sure not running it through a $25,000 motor. So yeah, come get all the fuel you want out of my boat. I don't know what you're gonna put it in, but I wouldn't put it in my lawnmower, so. I had stay built, but it's still that ethanol breaks down and it clogs injectors and injectors in the boat are $4,000. So why
And
would
they're
you?
picky.
Yeah, I'll just get new gas. No, we're going on a 9-day cruise. Leaving Florida and ending up in Puerto Rico,
Yeah.
going down the Bahamas and St. Bart's, St. Lucia. Right? And my wife gets seasick.
Oh,
So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, she gets seasick in the bathtub, so.
wow. You may not come back.
That's kind of what I told her. I'm like, I see reports of people getting pushed off of boats all the time. I don't know that I really want to
Careful
go.
who's on the boat with you.
I'm gonna have to write a letter and leave it with the sheriff's office that if I get pushed off a boat at sea,
Happens.
please investigate.
this person.
We'll just check to see if, she increased your insurance policy.
Right. Love you, honey. We are ready for you if you're ready. No,
We were drooling over babies.
we were talking about premeditated murder, but
Oh, you missed out. Thank you.
no, we were talking about it in the Caribbean, but different story.
Natalie Holloway.
No.
Ah,
No, I'm going on a
Dan
cruise and I said, if somebody pushes me off a boat, please investigate.
Is it anniversary?
When are
you going to
Caribbean? April.
so fun. Go to Atlantis.
Well, I don't have a choice now. It's already booked and paid for, so it's not like I can change it.
You get seasick?
No, my wife does, so. I used to work on a boat. No, I don't get seasick.
No, that's, yeah. Sorry, but yeah, I get seasick. I made myself a promise over 30 years ago, went out of Oahu fishing.
Uh-huh.
I never enjoyed that at all. I was feeding the fish over the side.
Yeah. Can I be pull that mic closer to Bob so that everybody online can hear him? And then we are ready whenever you guys are ready, and thank you all for coming.
All right, well, thank you. Age, I gotta get my specs on here. First item, there were a total of 5,131 calls for service from January 1st, 2023 to November 27, 2023. In addition to the calls for service, deputies served a total of 1,322 civil papers during the same time period. Second item, on November 9th at 8:30 a.m., Klickitat County Sheriff's deputies and I took part in the Centerville School Veterans Parade. The young students and school staff did an outstanding job in showing respect and honor to our military veterans. Item 3, on November 11th At 11 a.m., Klickitat County Sheriff's deputies and KCSO posse scouts took part in the Goldendale Veterans Parade. Posse members also assisted with traffic control. The parade was a great honor to all of our military veterans. On November 11th at 4 p.m. and 5:30 p.m., the Goldendale American Legion provided a free dinner to veterans and their spouses. The American Legion requested our posse scouts to assist in cleaning tables at the event. They were really pleased with the performance of the posse scouts. The American Legion did an outstanding job in honoring the veterans and their families. Item 5, on November 14th, Under Sheriff Carmen Knopf, Goldendale Chief of Police Mike Smith, and I met with AVH security staff at the hospital and viewed the safe room that is now completed. This safe room will save law enforcement officers time from having to spend hours at the hospital when bringing in a mental subject. The mental subject can be placed into the safe room and the officer deputy can return to patrol duties and answer calls. I want to thank all of the KV8 staff that was involved in creating the safe room. Item 6, on November 18th at 9 a.m., we held the Klickitat County Sheriff's Posse Scout Training at the Mount Adams Room here in this new county building. And we had a good turnout by Posse Scouts and parents. The training involved the Washington State Constitution and other law enforcement procedures. Item 7, on November 18th, the Klickitat County Fair, at 12 p.m. at the Klickitat County Fairground, there was a public event held on the subject of voter registration. There was a good public turnout. The main discussion was ballot counting by computers at the state level. And now going to the press release. The press release dated November 3rd, 2023, titled "Wolves Should Not Be Introduced in Klickitat County." The introduction of wolves in Klickitat County is a bad idea, in my opinion. Wolves will be killing livestock, domestic pets, and will present a public safety threat to our citizens. It is my understanding that wolves are already being introduced in Klickitat County and are to be federally protected under the Endangered Species Act, Section 7, and Washington state law. This means wolves cannot be killed when they are attacking or killing livestock, domestic pets, or presenting a public safety threat. You can be arrested if you kill a wolf that is attacking livestock or pets. I believe arresting someone for killing a wolf when it is attacking or killing livestock, domestic pets, which is considered personal property of the individual, is a violation of the individual's constitutional right. The United States Constitution, under the Fifth Amendment, states an individual will not be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. The Washington State Constitution also states under Section 3, personal rights, no person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. As a constitutional sheriff of Klickitat County, it is my duty to protect our citizens' constitutional rights and God-given liberty. I believe the federal and Washington state government threatening to arrest a citizen for killing a wolf that is attacking or killing livestock and domestic pets, which is their personal property of our citizens, is illegal and unconstitutional. As sheriff, I will not enforce laws that appear to be unconstitutional and violate the rights of our citizens. That's the first press release. Second press release under item 9, November 20th, 23, titled "Additional Arrest on March 16th, 2023, Double Homicide." On November 20th, 2023, at approximately 12 p.m., Mr. Larry Dwayne Clavin, age 58, appeared in Superior Court of Klickitat County in regards to his involvement in the double homicide case at the end of Box Canyon Road that occurred on or about March 16th, 2023. The two murder victims were Jeremy Wyatt and Alicia King, both from the Yakima, Washington area. As a result of further investigation by the Klickitat County Sheriff's Office in regards to the Box Canyon double homicide, the following new charges were filed in Klickitat County Superior Court on November 17, 2023, against Larry Dwayne Clevin, age 58, charging him with 3 counts of murder in the 2nd degree, trafficking in stolen property in the 1st degree, rendering criminal assistance in the 1st degree, and tampering with physical evidence. Klickitat County Sheriff's deputies arrested Larry Dwayne Clevin and booked him into the Klickitat County Jail on the above charges. Mr. Clevin's bail was set at $1 million.
Thank you for that, sir. I just wanted to interrupt you there. Thank you and all your staff for that. Let's all hope the judicial system works in a way to keep our citizens as safe as you have in that matter.
Amen. Thank you. I'll turn it over to the undersheriff at this time, if that's okay.
Good morning. So I did a pretty short update. The final month of 2023 is fast approaching, and we're happy to be winding down from a busy year. So currently we're planning out our 2024 year for training opportunities, traffic safety emphasis, Marine Patrol activities, posse and posse scout training and activities, to name a few. I want to point out that I actually have Kirsten, since she's on light duty, working on a plan to map out all the training opportunities for 2024 so that we're not scrambling at the end of the year to make sure everybody meets their training needs. There was an increase in traffic safety dollars this year, for this next year up to $90,000 for our region. So we'll be doing some additional traffic safety emphasis throughout the year. Deputies have completed nearly 600 hours of training so far this year, and we have several more mandatory training sessions in December. We're doing taser training, and if anybody wants to sign a waiver and volunteer. Deputies completed a Survey Monkey where we identified career goals that we will use to focus training related to those goals. Strategic planning is necessary to best utilize the training budget and incorporate free, we like that price, virtual and in-person training throughout the year. The holiday season often brings joy and happiness to families across the county, and we know that our residents are busy preparing for Christmas parties and shopping. However, this time of year is where we will see a rise in criminal activity. Thefts of mail and packages, already happening, will be on the rise. Car theft, domestic violence, and DUIs will likely see an increase. And car theft, I want to point out, comes from people warming up their cars in their driveways. It's an ample opportunity to speed off with your car. And maybe you already, have all your work stuff in there. And so please don't, if you gotta have your car running, make sure it's locked.
Or by remote start.
Right. The weather will play a key role in motor vehicle collisions, and we encourage drivers to slow down, inspect your vehicles to make sure your headlights, brake lights, and taillights are all working properly. And most importantly, please do not drink and drive. I think we can't stress that enough. I attended the annual Fall WASPA Conference in Tri-Cities from November 6th through November 9th. There were a number of important topics covered that included employment and labor law. The CJTC was there. I will let you know that they're only doing 3 BLEA academies next year, and they only have 4 corrections officer academies scheduled for next year, and those are already full. So I don't know what they're going to do. It'll be interesting. We had updates from the FBI, which worked out great. It was election day when he was talking, and it was at that time, of course, when reports were coming from Skagit County and other counties who were getting tainted ballots in. And so he was addressing that during that time that he was there. So I'm sure we'll get to meet him as we work with the auditor's office to come up with solutions to make sure our elections are safe for next year, because they have 5 scheduled elections next year. So we'll be working closely with everybody on that. Washington State Fusion Board was there. I didn't get too much opportunity to meet with them, although I did submit this last year or earlier this year, I think 25 different cases. I think there was 25 we submitted. They investigate all the thefts or break-ins or any kind of activities at windmill sites, solar sites, electrical grids, things like that. So all of those investigations that we had have been sent to them, so that they can, hopefully they track and tie, and maybe they can make some arrests. They have a lot more resources than we do. Traffic safety was there. We had legislative updates and registered sex offenders, including the effects of House Bill 1394. And I know Karen's going to touch a little bit on that. Co-responder contract was signed, and we'll be working with Lacey Villamar to implement policy and procedures for the department. We have a target date of January 1st to begin that program, and we wouldn't be able to have this program if it wasn't for the hard work of Public Health Director Aaron Quinn, who secured the grant funding. I'll be meeting with Mike Gibbons, I believe this week, to finalize the pilot camera project. Once we have that contract and goes through legal, then we'll be getting it approved through you guys, and then it will take about 8 weeks to get the cameras implemented into the county. And we haven't made a final decision where we're going to place all those cameras. I did want to point out real quick, I brought a couple of stats with me. So all the citations that were written this year, traffic infractions, there's been 642 traffic infractions, 70 infraction non-traffic, 109 criminal traffic citations, and criminal non-traffic 78. So there's been a total of 899 citations written so far this year. And we're going to work hard at increasing those numbers over this next year. So getting the people who are driving responsible. Yes, sir.
Let me interject. Oftentimes I have citizens ask me, well, Sheriff, don't you have a quota, the number of tickets you write? I said, oh, no. We do not have a quota. The law enforcement officers are allowed to write as many as they want. So that's where we stand. There's no quota. That's for the public's.
Yes.
That's currently all I have. You guys have any questions?
Not yet.
Good morning. We currently have 29 people in custody in the Klickitat County Jail. One person in our custody is at Eastern State Hospital receiving treatment. And we have one person that we've submitted paperwork for and just heard this morning that they've been accepted. And so that person will also be going to Eastern for mental health care. When it comes to mental health in the jail, I've noticed a reoccurring theme. People are arrested and need mental health help that they can't receive in our jail. So they are, after a lengthy process, sent to Eastern State Hospital for treatment for their various mental health issues. Most of the time, this treatment lasts for multiple months. When the person comes back to our jail, they're a different person. You can have conversations with them. They abide by the rules of the jail. They aren't aggressive towards staff. But then something happens. They sit in jail waiting on court. In many cases, they start refusing to take their medications. From there, as time goes by, they go downhill quickly. They become worse and worse and eventually revert back to having the same mental health issues they had before. They get aggressive with staff, they refuse to eat, they won't shower, they don't follow the jail rules, and eventually they aren't in a state of mind to stand trial, so the process begins over again. And I don't have control over that process, but if I did, I would ensure that the people who come back from treatment would have priority when it comes to prosecution. Doing what is being done now is wasting taxpayer money, wasting people's lives, and putting my staff in revolving unnecessary hostile situations. I talked to you last month about moving the jail office That move has been completed and it's working out well. I now have immediate in-person communication with the jail sergeant and the records clerk, which helps operations in the jail run more smoothly. Buildings and Grounds, along with IT, did a great job helping us with the move, and I appreciate their help very much. The hiring process was completed on Caleb Eldred, and he started work in the jail as a corrections deputy last Monday, the 20th. The background investigation is still ongoing for the position of control board operator, but hopefully that will be completed soon. Although I didn't have the time to make a list this month like I did last month, the ongoing repairs to the jail are still ongoing, and they are multiple and ever changing. With the age of the current jail, it's not going to get any better, but Troy and his crew respond very quickly with repairs, and we very much appreciate that. I've got a request for proposals that apparently you will get next week. It is to bring the jail records and prescription ordering system that we into the current century. Everything right now in regards to medical and prescription, it's all done by hand on paper. And the jail is literally full of paper medical records, paper sheets for prescription drugs. When meds are dispersed to inmates, it's recorded by hand on paper forms. Some inmates have multiple files from multiple years. When records need to be sent to our contract medical provider, they have to be pulled out of a physical file, scanned, and then emailed. Updating the jail medical records and medical ordering system to the digital age is just good common sense. It will cut down on mistakes with automatic reminders of the medications needs of the inmates, along with streamlining the ordering and reordering process. Having a system that allows our staff and our medical provider access to the same records online will eliminate the hundreds of monthly emails and phone calls back and forth. It will also cut down on the time staff spend doing meds, allowing them to move on to other tasks. I've included a letter from the jail medical provider where he states, quote, I'm reaching out to support, ask for the ability to streamline our jail facility with an electronic system. We are very antiquated in how we can store, send, order, and review medical information. Please let me know how I can help make this happen, and feel free to call me and we can discuss the benefits further, unquote. The RFP has been reviewed by the prosecutor's office, and with the board's approval, we will put it out to the public. I look forward to getting that next week, and hopefully your approval for that. And once again, I would like to remind everyone listening that we have some very good, very professional people that work in our jail. 24 hours a day, every day of the year, they are doing their jobs, taking care of inmates. I could not be prouder as their supervisor of the work that they do. Day in and day out, they deal with people who are not fit to be out in the general public. It is not an easy job, physically or mentally, but they do it caringly and professionally. Any chance that a person gets, please thank a corrections officer. Thank you.
I have a clarification question. And I'm pretty sure I already know the answer, but when someone comes back from the state hospital or even if they didn't come back from the state hospital and they have heart meds or whatever other kind of meds, we can't force them to take their meds, can we?
We cannot.
It's up to them, and these meds make me feel funny, so I don't want to take them, and so you get that a lot.
Right. And the longer they're in, usually the more they decide they don't want to do what they're supposed to do. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're on, lady.
Well, I will keep this short and sweet. Budget, we've had an increase in expenses, and we're looking line item by line item and bill by bill and looking at everything and cutting where we can for future. Contracts, I made a couple of revisions to the city contracts, so I am resending it to the PA today, and then they'll go out. The invoices associated with it will also go out. So
the cities know that they have to pay these, so. And then you'll have 3 more contracts coming next month or in the following weeks. So, civil papers, concealed pistol licenses, and records requests have been on an increase. Luckily, Rochelle has done a great job keeping up with the CPLs, so we don't have that backlog anymore. Paper service, she's getting those out. We're actually going to have a sheriff's sale for one of the houses, and some grain that's located in Centerville. So, it will be a comedy show that I will be hosting on December 8th on the steps of the courthouse. Not really a comedy show, but and then records requests are just astronomical. Everybody asking for all their neighbors' records. It's very intense for McKenna. So she's doing a great job though. Training in the civil division, both McKenna and Rochelle attended a situational awareness training that was virtual. And so they're getting, every month they're getting something. They're doing great. But the main topic that I want to talk about is sex offenders, because the House Bill 1394 is in effect, and we have until December 1st to release our qualified sex offenders for that. So we have 81 current sex offenders on our roster. 43 are level 1, 28 are level 2, 9 are level 3, and 1 is unrated at this time. We're still reviewing whether he actually has to register. Of those, we've got 2 level 1s that are non-compliant, which means they're not coming in, they're not doing what they're supposed to do, and we're tracking them down. We've also got 1 level 3 in the same category, and that's where we call in the marshals, and we just let the marshals take care of them. The 1 level 3 that the marshals are on the marshals list, he's been gone for years, and it's doubtful we'll ever find him. So, in regards to 1394, I still have half of the level 1s to review, but at this time, we will likely be releasing 5 level 1s, 6 level 2s, and 1 level 3 offender into the community without having to register, because that's what the state has mandated. So if you think about it in percentages, we've got 3.7% of our sex offender population that is non-compliant, and we've got 14.8% so far that we will be releasing back to the community with no oversight. So
I'd like to interject real quick. When I was at conference, House Bill 1394 was a hot topic, of course, with all the sheriffs and the police chiefs. Tarina from Waspic noted that there will be over 2,000 individuals released from the registry on December 1st because of House Bill 1394. I think what was most disturbing is one of the legislators that got up and spoke to us that night. Part of her spiel, she talked about how she wanted safety for children, but when I went and reviewed who voted, because Lauren put that together for us, who voted, she was one of the people who voted for removing, changing that registry policy. So
yeah, there's
she
consequences
clearly
to who
doesn't-
we vote for, and the public needs to look at every vote very carefully on every issue and not just assume
Absolutely.
when it comes time.
There's
for
numerous
election.
House bills out there and Senate bills that we really need to be focusing on that have direct impacts on our citizens. So
Well, I'd like to make one comment in regards to the sex offenders. Your sheriff's probably gonna lock horns with the governor and the people involved in it. One thing about having a number of years of experience in law enforcement, they have it now where juveniles may not even have to register. And it can be a violent juvenile. And even the worst of the worst, they only have to register for 3 years. then they don't have to register it. I have an allegiance and a duty to the citizens of this county to protect the citizens. Now, if they don't register with the sheriff's office, I don't even know if they're in the area. And that is ridiculous. Juveniles have a propensity to commit violent crime. I've personally been involved in the investigation of, in Clark County, of a young man by the name of Clark Hazen. He was 17 years old. He went to Amboy General Store, stole a sex tape out of the store, went home, watched it, went down to his neighbor who he knew, and she knew him. She was homesick that day. And he asked if he could use the phone. Well, she knows him. Says, yeah, come on in. I'm not feeling real good. When you're done with the phone, you can leave. And why I know that, because he confessed to that later, how this went down. Anyway, he shot her in the back of the head with a .25 auto, killed her, raped her. Then when the father came home, he stayed in that trailer until the father got home. He knew their routine. Father picked the mail up from the mailbox, walked into the house. He knew his daughter was sick, so he didn't think anything about it, that she was probably back in the bedroom there asleep. He sat in his easy chair to read the mail. Clark Hazen walked up behind him and shot him in the back of the head with a .25 auto. Now, he's a juvenile, and he committed sex crime. And those folks, I could go on for other cases I worked as well. Wesley Allen Dodd, 3 kids that were murdered. These people, just because they're underage, does not mean they're not a threat to our society or to our community. Wesley Allen Dodd was tried as an adult because he was 17. He got the death penalty. That's when our state believed in the death penalty. Unfortunately, they don't have that anymore. Wesley Allen Dodd hung himself at Walla Walla. So he solved the problem for it. But he's just one example of many of them out there in our community. So your sheriff may get in a little grease here with the state legislature and the governor and stuff. But if I have reason to believe this person is a real danger to the community, I'm going to squawk it to the loudest voice I have and let the neighbors know that they're in their neighborhood. Because I think that's a duty that I have to the citizen.
Give everybody a breath for a sec.
It's a lot to
Yeah.
digest.
On a positive note, the marine inspections are going well, and we will wrap up here soon and meet our goals. And we have targeted exceeding those goals, so. And finally, thank you for a wonderful 2023 and all of your support as we've been short-staffed and muddling through trying to fill all of our positions with, especially in the front office, with what we had. So thank you for your support and have a happy new year.
And thank
Merry
you for all you
Christmas.
guys do. It's been a fast and furious year, for sure.
Boy, howdy.
The departments, it's just been, and your department's been, you've done really well to pull out of it.
How are you at with staffing now? Are you full or still looking for any?
Office, we are full. Front office, we are full. We are down one posse member that was augmenting our staffing due to his illness. And so I'm gonna tap into some more posse members because that will increase our productivity without increasing our costs.
Again, thank all of you, the board, for the support you give to us. It means a lot. And
And you guys mean a lot to everybody.
but you know what? We're all patriots and we'll do the good fight coming into 24.
Yeah, it's gonna be a busy year.
It's gonna be a very interesting year,
Mm.
but it, you know, every year is an interesting year at this point, so. Well, thank you all, and
Thank you.
as always, if I can help you with anything, let me know.
And
Appreciate it.
thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Yes.
Oh, I do want to thank, I believe it's Carmen, but feel free to give the credit somewhere else if it's deserved. When we were up at our county leaders conference, they talked to all of the other commissioners about the jail survey that we are pushing. Some of us are pushing through to try to get the legislature to help fund potential new jails. And she kind of in a way nonchalantly brought the subject up to all the commissioners and which counties had not completed their jail survey. It was
We were-
surprising how many commissioners didn't even know there was a jail survey. And then as she's naming the names, I was sitting next to Lori at the time and she's like, oh crap, because they're like listing almost every county in the state. I'm like, we're covered. I know it. We're covered. They did not list us. So whichever one of you it was,
Yeah.
thank you for doing that when I sent it over.
I think we did a high five.
We might have did an under the table high five or something because I'm glad for as hard as like I'm pushing that at Wasac to try to get some state funding for the jail. It kind of falls on deaf ears if we didn't even do the survey. So thank you both, whoever it was, whoever.
With much help from Carmen, we got it done.
Yeah, I am sure it wasn't a fun survey, but they never are, but hopefully it works to help us get some pressure on the legislature to give us some funding for a new jail, because as far as I'm concerned, we now have a new building. The next item on this county's agenda for a building of any kind, my opinion only, is a new jail.
Thank you.
And not a jail remodel,
agree.
it's a new jail.
So we're in desperate need of.
How
a
we get
facility.
there and where we plan for that, or how we put money away to pay for that. That's for this board and the next board to figure out, but I hope to have the same priority as I do, so. But thank you for doing the survey, just wanted to point that out.
Thank you
Thank
for the
you.
comment.
Alrighty, ready. But we are way too early to lunch.
It's okay, I can go do other things, or my agenda got bigger today.
Well, and the weird part about it is we move our board meeting from 8 to 9 so we can fit more things in, but it seems like we just fit them all in the morning, and then the afternoons we're done earlier than we used to be. So it's like,
What's happening?
you know, there's room in the schedule. If you have anything you want to put in there ever, obviously just reach out like me with the Condit Dam
I
thing.
think if we can.
I sent her that email last night. Can you please add this as an add-on? And then obviously Commissioner Anderson's gonna be back next week too. So if we can have the board rules policy or the
Yes.
discussion next week as well.
Yeah, add it.
And then I think we already scheduled, correct me if I'm wrong, a time for us to talk to Public Works with the Title 12 road decision, whether that's on a Tuesday or Thursday or something, so that we can move forward with that one. Okay. Yeah, kind of where I think where we are. Got
Well-
an amazing amount accomplished in 3 years, and a lot of it's really been in the last year. Thank you.
This last month, we talked about it last week about maybe if we can have a reminder master list of what we haven't finished. And if we can plug it into December with workshops or whatever we need to sew it all up and get it done. Start this slate. clean
Our
next year,
last
if-
clerk,
yeah.
when I first started, had a board pending list. It's actually on the shared drive. It's just outdated because it probably hasn't been touched in forever. I usually keep my own in a little Word document to remind me of things I need to discuss. Water right, temporary trust, landfill gas grant application,
Short-term rental.
policy for legal review, policy for training. Mill site, haven't got an update on the mill site forever.
We did from Richard. It was very quick last week, I believe. And I believe ecology is starting in January.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Mhm.
See, I have truck potable water on here, so I can hit delete on that. Title 12 road standards, which we're getting ready to, short-term rentals attached to that. Still, I mean, I've been trying to get a website upgrade for 3 years, so eventually we'll come out of the Stone Age. Vending machines have
And
kind
I
of
was
died.
handed what is that called? That little booklet that
Tip-
we were gonna hand out.
Tips for country living.
Yes, and I passed it back to Leanne because I think it needs to be condensed and she's really good at putting graphics together. It's big, it's the size of this. I think we could change what the photograph is and add bullet points and make it a more affordable document to be able to just hand out and give away, was my goal with it.
Interesting, because we had just updated that.
I know, but it was big. It's,
It did
which
used to
makes it
come as a
more-
little handout,
yeah.
kind of a
And
scenario.
it makes it more expensive that way. I was looking to cut costs on something
Well,
we're
that,
just
that,
giving
yeah.
away.
That was on my list here after vending machines, picnic tables. The next up was tips for country living.
So
printing
I
and
haven't
marketing.
forgotten it.
Haven't heard a word about cattle and roadway sign. For wastewater. Hopefully we can get Horsey landfill completed.
Can you send me a copy of your master list?
No,
Oh.
that's my list. It's,
I could add it
it's,
to it. We could share it.
if I print it, it is a document.
I
It is a
see.
draft.
Okay,
So that I can edit and change
give
as
you a
I
document.
want without it being a document.
all right, never mind. I'll do my own. See how you are.
I'm reading it to you now. Some of these are close.
Yeah, that's what
It's
I
like,
mean. If we could,
I wanted to make sure we required 2 signature for franchise agreements. That will be in the Title 12 road standards, and I have a question on that, so we'll have a discussion on that. When it comes, planning, solar, SMP, CAO comp plan. You know, some of them are backburner to ADU sizing and location revisions, ain't gonna happen for a while. But no, I try to read through this.
well, that's on
often.
my list. There are things like the ADU sizing and you're saying backburner. Those are my questions of why is it backburnered? What's
Well,
slowing it down?
I would hate to speculate that it's potentially being slowed down on an obstructionary base because somebody may not like
Well, and
the
that's what
policy.
I needed to ask.
So we need to
Where
find
are we
out.
at in the
It
process?
could be what I was told when we had a planning director is that there's issues like that would need to go to the planning commission, and the planning commission is busy with CAO, SMP, whatever else. So if you throw this on there, they won't have time to do that. But
with
I
new-
think we're on the same
Yeah,
page here.
new planning director, we're gonna have a new direction.
We could have a new direction. So I'm encouraged because I look at it that, you know, the public is screaming for affordable housing,
Mhm.
whatever that word is. Well, the only way you can make housing more affordable is make cost of construction cheaper.
Mhm.
There is no better way to make cost of construction cheaper than to have somebody not have to buy land. So if you can put a second house on a 20-acre parcel, you create affordable housing. You also create landowner to have a reliable source of income, as opposed to the reliable source of income is flooding my property with solar panels.
Mhm.
And you can
Yeah.
conquer 2 issues. So
We have some things.
it's something that's high on my plate. I put an ADU on my property for my mother-in-law and father-in-law. But at the time, the rule was it couldn't be more than 900 square feet. 2 bedrooms, single wide, and it couldn't be more than 100 feet from my house, which really I own 20 acres and it has to be literally within hitching wedge distance.
Mhm.
It seems a little obsessive, but if that was the rule back when people didn't want ADUs 20 years ago, We need to relook at that again, I think. So yes, as we see a new planning director, I would love to get some of these top issues I came to office with at least looked at before I potentially leave office.
Yeah, I think we can accomplish them all, but it's just having the right flow to get them done. Good.
Potentially.
I'm glad they're on your master list.
They're on my master list. We're checking them off one at a time. Some of them, regardless how small it is, it seems like I've been pushing 3 years. And it's like, why does it take so long?
If
But
we have nothing for the good of the order, I could use the time for calls to Olympia.
works for me.
I appreciate it.
I would entertain a motion to recess.
Chairman, I make a motion to recess for lunch. Coming back at 1 o'clock.
Okay, I will step down and second the motion. We have a motion and a second before us to recess for lunch and be back at 1 o'clock.
Thank you.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of recess, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Have a good lunch, everybody. All right. We will open our Board of Commissioners meeting. I'm sorry, I'm 1 minute late. I had a nosebleed. When you've broken your nose as many times as I have, it just happens. Anyway, not that you needed to know that. We have before us a list of public hearings, public meetings and bid openings. They all seem to be public meetings. First, and you taking these in order on our card, or are you gonna?
Yes,
Okay.
please.
The first public meeting is consider the final approval of short plat SPL 2021-30. Inco Properties LLC, and we have a brief staff update if you want one.
Okay, SPL 2021-30 is a proposal to create 4 large lots from parcel 05171400000100. The proposed short plat is located in the Goldendale vicinity off of Fox Canyon. The admin review of the short plat has been completed. Signatures have been obtained from the road, health, and planning departments, including the treasurer's office. All conditions attached to preliminary approval have been met. If the board finds it's in the public's interest to approve the short plat, a motion needs to be made granting final approval of SPL 2021-30 applicant Enco Properties LLC.
Okay.
There is a dedication on this to the county on a portion of Box Canyon Road.
Oh, okay. Any questions or anything from my seatmate? No, I have no issues with it. With that, I would entertain a motion if one was there.
I make a motion to approve, and I don't have my blue sheet up. Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the final short plat for SPL 2021-30 Anco Properties LLC.
Okay, I will step down and second the motion. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approval of SPL 2021-30, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. I've got to figure out this computer. It's not opening things the way it used to open, and now my tabs are gone. Let's try that.
Your way.
Be gone. You must be doing the rest.
Wow.
She's like, that's it. The heck with the rest of you. I'm out of here.
That was last shortcut. It's good. So everything else that was her last assigned one that she has. So she's happy to have that finished and she can get to the auditor's office, get it recorded and make room for me. So I have a question. I have 5 here. Would you like me to stay in all labeled? Would you like me to hand them here? And then as you guys approve, if you approve it, pass it through, or do them all at once, or do you want?
Just hand them one at a time ideally, so we make sure we're looking at the right thing.
Okay. Just
And
wanna
then
make
we'll
sure.
pile them over here and you can pick them up when you're done.
Okay. Would you like me to start for you?
Yes. Sorry, go
Okay.
ahead.
So first, I'd like to say thank you for helping us to get this moving along. It's quite a relief to this week and next week get things completed. It's a relief to surveyors, landowners, everyone. So I'm very happy to be here. The first project is short plat number 2022-02. The applicants are Johnson Bunch LLC. Short plat is a proposal to create 4 lots from parcel number 05171400000600. The proposed short plat is located within a portion of section 14, township 5, range 14, Willamette Meridian, Klickitat County in the Goldendale vicinity. The administrative review of this short plat has been completed. Signatures have been obtained from the road, health, planning departments, and the treasurer's office. All conditions attached to the preliminary approval have been met. If the board finds that it's in the public's interest to approve this short plat, a motion needs to be made granting the approval of short plat 2022-02.
Okay, looking now. Any questions, comments, concerns, anything? If not, I would entertain a motion.
No questions. Mr. Chairman, I make a motion for the final approval of short plat SPL 2022-02 Johnson Bunch LLC.
Okay, we'll step down a second to motion. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of final approval of SPL 2022-02, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
Okay, so next I have short plat 2022-06 Don Heidi Struck. This is a proposal to create 4 lots from parcel 04103667000500. The proposed short plat is located within a portion of section 36, township 4, range 10, Willamette Meridian, Klickitat County, Washington, in the Houston vicinity. The administrative review of the short plat has been completed. Signatures have been obtained from road, health, and planning departments and the treasurer's office. All conditions attached to the preliminary approval have been met. If the board finds it's in the public's interest to approve this short plat, a motion needs to be granted, finaling the approval of SPL 2022-06.
Okay. Actually, on this one, I have a couple of issues.
Okay.
Or not issues, but questions.
Mhm.
It looks like there's gonna be a private road sweeping through the area, and when we do lot sizes that have, say, minimum whatever 2 acres or whatever,
Mhm.
if the private road is part of that, does it get a count as the 2 acres? I mean, this is not an issue with this short plat at all. This is just me and knowledge.
Yes,
So they get to count the road square footage is part of the minimum acreage.
If it's a private road or easement, it is part of the square footage of that.
Oh,
And
that makes sense.
they pay taxes on it, everything. Now, I could be wrong, but I do think that there will be some changes coming in the new year for usable space when it comes to another department involved. Versus, like if it's all covered by road or this or that, if there's septics and stuff, there will need to be
Okay.
usable space, but
Okay,
that
then
does not pertain.
The next question is, after you do a boundary line adjustment, or I mean, a short plat like this, there's a number of years before you can do more development, correct? What's that number, 7?
Okay, it's
Or
5 years.
5? Okay.
So if it's in resource lands, 5 years requirement, period, you have to do another resource lands evaluation. This one in particular is not in resource lands, so it's 5 years unless they want to go through a subdivision process. And this one will be coming to you again probably next year.
For a subdivision process?
Yes, on the larger one.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So, but that's gonna be a little bit of a different process, but due to the fact that this one is coming through right now, they will be required to go through the other process, even if it was to create one more lot.
Right.
Because it's a total of
That's what I
4
thought.
lots.
So it's just, this one, based on the map, looks interesting, but I have no issues. Thank you for teaching me a little bit more.
And I have no issues.
Yep.
Or questions. So Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to consider or to approve the final short plat for SPL 2022-06 struck.
Okay, I will step down and second the motion. Any discussion or clarifications that we haven't already had? Hearing none, all those in favor of approval of final short plat SPL 2022-06, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Yeah, it's just some of these I, look at are like, oh, well, that's easy. And other ones are like, well, that one's a little more interesting.
Yeah, the reasoning for it. Or
Use
something.
it to gain a little knowledge.
Hey, every day is a learning experience. We just have to have an open mind to do it.
For 15. I see this one just makes more sense because it's like the road / hammerhead is going down both property lines. That other one went through the middle. It just looked weird. You're seeing what I'm talking about here with the road going through
Yeah.
this side. Oh, that makes more sense. Because I'm looking at this going, why wouldn't you just bring it in? But
Had to go
it's-
around to
yeah,
both sides.
because the applicant's on the Zoom thinking in his mind, because there's a hill, you idiot. So yes, sir, I'm signing right now.
Or sometimes like if they already have a approach from the state, because that's a state road, and so they need to bring it in right there and they're trying to find a way to make it work. So there's so many factors involved.
It's just normally when I see them, it's splitting a property line, half the road's on this property line, half the road's on this property line. So they both have a shared access to the property, and that one just kind of interesting.
Yeah. Okay, so next we have short plat SPL 2022-15, Aaron and Jenny Montgomery. This is a proposal to create 4 lots from parcel 0612106000000200. The proposed short plat is located within a portion of section 10, township 6, range 12, Willamette Meridian, Klickitat County in the Glenwood vicinity. The administrative review of this short plat has been completed. Signatures have been obtained from the road, health, planning departments, and the treasurer's office. All conditions attached to preliminary approval have been met. If the board finds that it's in the public's interest to approve the short plat, a motion needs to be granted approving final for SPL 2022-15.
If you're ready, I'm ready.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion for the approval of short plat SPL 2022-15 Montgomery.
Okay, I will step down and second the motion. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approval of short plat SPL 2022-15, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. No.
So the next one is short plat number SPL 2022-28. The applicant is Rhodes Property Management. It is a proposal to create two lots from parcel 04163216100100. The proposed short plat is located within a portion of section 32, township 4, range 16, Willamette Meridian, Klickitat County, Washington, in the Golden Dale vicinity. The administrative review of the short plat has been completed. Signatures have been obtained from Road, Health, and Planning Departments and the Treasurer's Office. All conditions attached to preliminary approval have been met. If the board finds it's in the public's interest to approve the short plat, a motion needs to be granting final approval of SPL 2022-28.
I have no question.
I don't have any questions either. I'm curious why it wasn't divided into more than two, but.
So with that, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion for the approval of short plat SPL 2022-28 roads.
2023. That's 20. For clarification, can you please just respeak that? Yours says
2022-28.
Mine says. Oh, it is 2022.
Thank you
He's
for
correct.
checking. Thank you
I
for
will step
checking.
down and second the motion for approval of short plat SPL 2022-28. I was looking at my screen and my screen says SPL 2023-28. So.
All those in favor say.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approval of short plat SPL 2022-28, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
Those are for planning purposes.
I was looking at that going, wait a minute, are we? I misspeak.
Please save me. Finally.
Now she's throwing things.
Cheers.
Okay, my last one is a boundary line adjustment, number BLA 2023-13. It's for Cameron and Wilcox. Boundary line adjustment number BLA 2023-13 is proposal to adjust the common property line between parcels 05151054, 000-200, and parcel 05151000000700 off of Lone Cedar Lane. The proposed boundary line adjustment is located within a portion of section 10, township 5, range 15, Willamette Meridian, Klickitat County, Washington, in the Golden Dale vicinity. The administrative review of the boundary line adjustment has been completed. Signatures have been obtained from Road, Health, Planning, and Treasurer's Office. all conditions attached to the preliminary approval have been met. If the board finds it's in the public's interest to approve the boundary line adjustment, a motion will be needed to grant final approval of BLA 2023-13.
Ready?
Yep.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion for final approval of boundary line adjustment BLA 2023-13 Cameron Wilcox.
Okay, I will step down and second the motion. Any discussion? All those in favor of approval of boundary line adjustment BLA 2023-13, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. We're just not exciting as enough anymore, I guess. I can't believe that we have, 30 people online every time. It used to be me sitting in the back of the room, the only one that paid attention. The electeds would come over and sit in it once in a while. But again, our 27 of them work for the county, so.
Good for the staff to know.
And what's going on, no, that makes sense. And you can, do your work and listen to Jerry Springer at the same time, so. I'm on a roll today. Oh, there.
You've got notes on there. Okay, I'm good. There's only one subject left.
All right. Next up is 145, which was under canvas and conduit water right. We'd already discussed earlier, the board came to a decision on the water right to advise council to file with ecology to put the county's water right in a trust temporarily until we can come up with a decision on what we wanted to do with it permanently. With that item is now done. So we're on to Commissioner Zoller's item, which was a discussion on undercanvas.
So under canvas, I suppose everyone knows, is a subject of litigation. Had several questions and we were set for executive session today with our legal counsel. And he did not want to attend until all three of us were in session with him. So moving forward with that subject, I understand there's a time frame ticking. Is that true for a return information? Do you know?
I believe so. And for clarification on those out there listening, if we wanted to have executive session on pending litigation so the board can discuss and make a determination, we do that in executive session. But based on the laws of Washington, the only ways we can have that executive session is if council is present. So if council is not present, me and Commissioner Zolder and Commissioner Anderson don't get to talk about a subject like under canvas unless we want to do it in open session. Well, in this case, it looks like we're going to be doing it in open session, which is not advisable, but I think needed, and we just need to make sure we do it carefully. With that, I do believe, to answer your question, we are on time constraints. But as we have not been afforded an executive session on this issue in quite some time, I honestly don't know where we are exactly, because we haven't been able to ask questions and or get answers as a board.
Well, and thinking about this, I do have a lot of questions. And those are going to take legal answers. We have a time frame. I believe Commissioner Anderson will be here for our meeting on the 5th. I will reach out and request another executive session for that time, and I'll clarify that it is appropriate. And I do approve if there's only 2 commissioners in the executive session, because it is a quorum that the prosecutor can attend. And if we're able to hold that meeting, I'm confident that we can come to resolve where the answer would still have time enough for the turnaround to go back to the hearings examiner. But it is important to understand that we want to sit with our prosecutor and work through the litigation and the outcome and help the commissioners come to resolve as to what direction we're going to take. Did that make sense to you?
Kind of.
And I kind of
It
rambled
was,
there.
it was a little left fieldy.
Uh-huh.
Um,
I think there's reasons we need to do that.
I guess I would say that I think it is the Board of Commissioners' legislative authority and right to determine what litigation happens on behalf of the county. Whether we are moving forward with a legal claim, whether we are settling a legal claim, or whether we are defending a legal claim. The problem is when the Board of County Commissioners are not afforded the opportunity to have a discussion, they can't make a determination, and that determination in a way gets made for them. I have a problem with that.
Well, and in an effort to hold that last minute meeting, I believe at that point, if that doesn't happen and we can't move forward with an executive session, we do have the opportunity ourselves to make a decision and reach out to the hearings examiner ourselves, because he is also representing this board. So we could go ahead and proceed that way if we need to.
Interesting. I'm just thinking on that one. Maybe in this board's ask for an executive session next week, it might be prudent to have a conference call that the hearings examiner is also on, since he is actually an attorney representing. I
That'd
guess
be
he's not
awesome.
representing the county. He's a second. There should be a way.
He's
That
like
should be,
outside
that should
counsel.
be acceptable. If it's coming from the board of the whole, which in this case would be you and me,
Yeah,
and not an individual commissioner.
that would work well for me. I would like to have that. Just like I would like to also confer with the water rights attorney in person. I like those relationships and I want to ask those questions.
Oh, I most definitely agree. That one we have more time. This one is a last minute crunch.
Right.
Because the last time I asked for executive session, I was told no. Which definitely hinders my ability to do my job in a timely way, but okay. I worry that that does not afford this board much time to react. So I would come into next week prepared with all scenarios to make a decision. So yes, if you would like to reach out to the prosecutor and let him know that there was consensus of the board of the whole, that we, in order for us to take action, we need executive session. If he does not want us to take action, or action that we may take without legal counsel, which then could be
Yeah.
many avenues, including some potentially damaging ones. We need to be able to make an informed decision,
Right.
or there may be consequences to our uninformed decision. You have my permission to reach out and do so.
Hey, I will. Thank you. We have a visitor.
Yes, we do. Probably Board of Health.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, now you get me thinking on the. Yeah. Yeah, and I guess technically waiting 1 week, I can
Mhm.
do my own legal research. Which, you know, is watching Matlock on TV, but
No, and I'll request a hearings examiner either in person or on Zoom.
mhm.
Okay. And Elise, I would have to know what time that executive, because the prosecutor likes to know exactly what time we can schedule.
But we can make the executive whatever time he wants. We can,
Okay.
whoever else is on our schedule for whatever time he chooses it, we can cancel on them and reschedule. I will not.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Perfect.
No, I mean, we bend over backwards.
Okay.
Hmm. Yeah, I definitely have some procedural questions
Yes, I do too.
and the consequences for different procedural avenues. So hopefully those can be explained. If not, I'll just have to take my chances.
Mhm.
With that, did you have anything else on the under canvas?
I don't. That's it for today.
Well, so you got to kill, 27 minutes.
Wow.
Unless we make Sunday give the whole Board of Health presentation. We can do that. That'd be fun.
They'd be surprised when they got here, wouldn't they? Well, what else can we do for 27 minutes?
Yeah.
How are
Think
we
about
gonna do
other
so much
things
stuff?
we need to get on our agenda and work on. It's like me, it's like, there's so many things, but you're kind of working on 3 or 4 at a time. And so you're like, I was working on that board policy thing, but then once I turn it into you, it's like off my plate. And now I don't know what to do for a second.
Yeah.
So you pick something else up and then that's coming back obviously in a week. So you're
It's a different
juggling
way to work.
cats.
Sure. I'm used to working on one subject and getting it done, where in this, you just open a box, work on it, shut the box, open a
Yep.
box, shut the box.
Shut the box.
And then try to remember where you were.
Yep.
And then we depend on staff. Where was I?
I can delete that one, and that one though. So what is your plan for tips for country living to make it smaller, more concise and to the point? Are you just going to, is that your job? To just
I was hoping to take the conversations out of it and make it more bullet points. That would
make
free
it
up.
more, less paragraphy and
Yes.
more bullet pointy?
Yes. And then also the pictures, beautiful, huge color pictures, but very expensive to reprint. So maybe just a couple of nice pictures and then a heading, subject heading, and then bullet points under it. And a lot of times people get lost and don't pay attention when they read paragraphs anyhow. If you give them structured bullet points, they're going to take it more to heart.
Or smaller, less wordy paragraphs.
True. Mhm.
Potentially. I'm okay with looking over it and seeing if we can concise it down without removal of any pertinent information.
Mhm.
Um,
And we're kind of waiting for a slow time to work on that. Yeah.
oh, I started this like 2 years ago. And it got redone and here we are redoing it again. Hadn't even been released to the public yet. Public health, Aaron Quinn had somebody, which I'm not quite sure is still in public health, that did a lot of the updating last time and math and wordsmithing and pictures and whatnot. So you can always reach out in that direction and get a name and a contact to facilitate, help, delegate, whatever you need there. Because that's who did it last time.
And it isn't that I don't think it's a good document. It's just the
Yeah.
print cost.
Well,
Yeah.
you have a point as we add things to it. It's not a book, shouldn't be a book. But as long as it covers things, expect cattle in the roadway. Don't complain when your neighbor's dog barks. If your neighbor's shooting his gun, go out and sing the Star Spangled Banner. Don't complain to him. Just typical what it takes to live in the country. But yeah, I can see it's probably wordy. Oh, dang it.
We needed to talk about the employee Christmas.
Oh.
parties, coming up the 14th, and I'm going to reach out to the Pioneer Center for the 15th to see if they'd be able to accommodate that date and get set up for it. I was just going to send that email, in fact.
I would say I am fine with the white salmon thing. It's just, I guess I would say it isn't easy to put on an event, get people to sign up for things, show up for things. So unless you're hosting and organizing the white salmon event, I would just put some feelers out to see if anybody else wants to be the organizer, because it
That's
definitely needs an organizer.
what I'm working on.
Okay.
But what I was going to ask you was commissioners have to provide the protein. So
here's. Don't know where that came from. So Commissioner Sauter did hams, if I recall correctly. Commissioner Johnston and Commissioner Anderson have done turkey. Commissioner Sizemore apparently did roasts. I switched that to pork ribs
okay.
last year anyway.
I just wanted to organize
So
ourselves.
we need to figure out amongst ourselves who's doing what protein.
Yep.
And then plan accordingly.
And then also volume. I think last year, Mr. Anderson did 2 turkeys.
I think he did one and our finance
Did one.
manager did one.
Because I'm fine with anything, but I just want to know if
And
I
I
can
think-
get prepared ahead for shopping.
I think Commissioner Sauter did 2 hams.
Okay.
And I did, I want to say 4 racks of ribs. 5. There's a mathematical equation online. I remember finding how many
Right.
pounds per how many people.
I just want to know which one you guys are going to choose, so I just know what I'm purchasing
I-
and cooking.
As Commissioner Anderson last year took the turkey, I would not take that away from him without having a conversation.
He did a good job too.
So
Might have been his mom.
I would, I'm sorry.
Who I know and love.
I'm sorry, frog in my throat. But I don't know, what protein idea did you?
Oh, I can
have
do
an idea
ham,
for?
or
Okay,
unless
done.
you're doing ham.
No, I can do ham. You can do ham. I'll figure something else out.
Okay. Then I'll plan.
You'll do like 50 pounds worth of Cornish game hen.
They have those meatballs that come pre-done at Costco and you just,
Oh,
it was pretty good, but I come, depends on what you put with them.
maybe I'll do ribeye steaks or something,
Oh, right.
just to spoil your guys'.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Say our prime ribs.
Oh, wouldn't that be nice?
That's how you just gotta look. I cooked one Friday night. I cooked a not 8 1/4 pounder. Just because I have too many of them. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to think about what I'm going to do. And then I think when we did the white salmon one, I don't think we took a lot of protein. I think they had just did one turkey down there and that was the only protein.
Okay.
Because there was a lot smaller
Yeah.
situation. I don't remember who usually hosts that. It might be a conversation for Sharon downstairs. She might
I
know.
already have a name.
Well, there you go. See, you're well ahead of it.
Yes, I am.
Party planner extraordinaire.
Mhm. See, it's good to have a woman on the boards.
I'm only good for hot air and blowing up balloons. Killing time quite nicely, but we still got 18 minutes.
Items that you guys want pending as search for country of the issues, 10 or 12 as coming up. So that's all. Was there anything else?
Short-term rentals, was that, did you say that? Short-term rental? Yeah, I was doing two things at
No.
once. I
Yeah,
missed.
short-term rentals waiting on Title 12. Which is waiting on a planning director.
Okay.
Which hopefully we can decide or have a conversation today, or maybe have our HR manager come down and make a decision on whether we want to have interviews and on what day for. It's like people listen to what I'm saying on here.
That was fast.
They could just mention a name and boom, they show up. Were you eavesdropping? You couldn't have been. You were in the hallway when I started talking about you. Do we have a date? Do we have a date or an idea of dates to set up for potential interviews for planning directors? Or do you waiting for guidance for us to pick a date? And if so, we're here.
No and yes.
Well, if I remembered what order I asked the questions, I'd have all the answers I need.
I
but
thought
don't
the
remember what
8th.
order.
No, I was waiting for guidance on if in fact you wanted to interview some of those early applicants and we can set those up. The first review ends, I think, December 8th. And again, anybody that comes in between this group and that date, you could still interview if there was somebody you wanted to, but yeah, so I would need to know.
So with those,
Individually, you can tell me.
I sent you my,
Yes.
okay, I sent you a tier 1 and a tier 2, and I would
Yes,
interview the tier
yes,
1
you did
people
do
if
that.
that's
Thank you.
me.
I can do the same. And then
Okay.
would we interview on the 8th then?
Anytime.
Okay.
I mean, you could, if you wanted to set something up before then, we could, or we could do it around the 8th. And then I think you have a workshop on the 7th. But depending on how many you want to interview, you figure 45 minutes a piece. So you could eat up that day real fast if you have it otherwise already scheduled. But to answer your question, yes, you could do it then. and then add anybody that comes in between now and then, should you choose to.
Did you send your first three, first four?
I think I had 4 in the first tier and 3 in the second tier or something like that. I'd have to look it back up again. I think there was either 3 or 4 in the first tier.
I think Commissioner Anderson might have had 2 for sure in his top tier, but I can't remember. I don't want to speak for him. He did not send me an email, so.
I say the hard part comes if I have a different group than she has, than he has, then do we want to set up a kind of do we just want to interview everybody that everybody wants to interview? Or do we want to say it needs 2 votes to go forward with an interview?
Well, or we could wait till Commissioner Anderson gets back and go into executive session, because you can go into executive session to discuss the qualifications of these, and then I believe so, that we've done that before, for department directors. That way we could come out with a list, or I'm assuming based on the applications I've seen, you guys are probably all fairly close on the top ones. Maybe today you could just find a timed interview for staff, maybe a half day at some point, and then we can still work on, once I get the list from Commissioner Zoller, because it's gonna take a while to schedule it, and then we
Well,
can.
that's me. It's like if we can get working on it a week beforehand, that's less chance we have of losing a potential candidate because we took too long to think about
Right,
it.
and then Commissioner Anderson comes back next week, we could add a name or 2 if he didn't see one on there he wanted. Or again, go into executive session when he's here to talk about the qualifications.
That too, or both.
Yeah.
Yes, no, I would be fine with scheduling something for next week. Do we not have a workshop on the 7th?
Yes, you do.
Is there nothing showing on my
Well, I think you just
calendar?
I think you just reserved it, but there wasn't. One of the things we're gonna talk about is natural resources. I think that's one item we placed on there.
It's not on the calendar, so I don't have to be here.
Ooh, well played.
Ooh.
I think it's a draw. No clear winner in this debate.
It's just, don't expect me to show up somewhere. If it ain't on the calendar, then I need to show up somewhere.
Yeah, I think you have a workshop on the 7th and the 14th.
Oh, I thought it was both days.
Yeah.
But, which good reminder. Can you please make a note of the workshop on the 14th? Even though it's on my calendar from 10 to 2. I don't care what time it starts. It can start at 8 or 9 for all I care. But it does need to be over 2 o'clock. Yeah, 2:30-ish max.
I think you.
Because I'm going out of town. To another commissioner function.
What day was it?
The 14th.
I was gonna suggest you could interview on that date, because part of what we do is notify them they're being invited to an interview, and that somewhat sets, it's only 2 weeks out. So I think that we're not gonna lose anybody in that 2 weeks. At least one of the applicants, I'm not sure has applied to many other places.
Well, if there's time to fit it in the morning or after the morning or whatever, as long as I can be done by 2:30. If not, I'm fine with Wednesday or Friday too. I mean,
I think the only thing on the 14th that I had was talk about codes and follow up to natural resources potentially, and some of that stuff.
Well, damn.
All of it can be moved. We just arbitrarily picked that date to have that discussion. So
yeah, no, I mean, depending on what you can slide in, wherever you can slide, and that's fine.
Can I work with Lisa and Leanne and take a look at
I don't know, you'll have to ask the boss.
Is it okay with the commissioners if I work with staff to see if we can find time for the interviews?
Yes. Who is that being noisy? Was that Shaggy being noisy? Oh, I'll have to have a word with Shaggy.
Is that Jeff did Shaggy today? Well, that's true. He's got the Scooby-Doo.
You let it slip
He's
now.
got
He's
the
gonna pick a
Scooby-Doo
different
thing,
name and
that's
I'm gonna have to
right.
figure him out.
Scooby-Dooby-Doo.
He changes his name and it takes me a week or 2 to figure it out.
Okay.
I'm sending you a list.
Okay. All right, looks like I have a conference call this afternoon with Mr. Hops and Miss Cranston over the pit trail.
Oh,
So we need to make sure I'm available for that. 3 o'clock this afternoon.
and I have meetings at 4, but I told them they could come at 3 because it looked like we'd be done early.
Yeah, but Aaron, God, can't get a word in edgewise. She's for you, those of you in Zoom land, we're just hanging out until 2 o'clock. Feel free to go for a restroom break or heat up a burrito or whatever you need for your enjoyment.
If I may, Mr. Chair, I can update you that you asked me to meet with Sharon, the Director, Senior Services Director, about some compensation issues she had with.
Oh.
And we have met and we do have a recommendation. We're kind of fine tuning that. We'll bring that forward to you possibly next week for your verbal approval before we would bring it forward in any kind of written form to make sure it's agreeable with the commissioners. So,
Hey, perfect. I forgot all about that.
So if that doesn't make sense, just email me or call me.
Huh?
Oh, I sent him an email with
Oh.
my list of choices. On the floor.
The brisket off my cow is like this big. I would have to go buy a brisket, but that's not a horrible idea. Not a horrible idea.
I've never cooked one. Do you do it in a smoker?
I do, yeah.
Mhm.
You do it in a smoker, but then the last part of it, you actually wrap it in foil
Okay.
because brisket can be tough, which I'm sure you've had tough brisket. You have to be able to quickly bring it up to a temperature of 202 degrees to destroy the membrane that makes it tough.
Okay.
So you wrap it in foil and bring it up to temp quickly. And then take it and throw it in like say a cooler. And let it cool down that
That's-
way while wrapped in foil and technically it should turn out tender.
Nice.
But talk about pressure on. If you do a brisket for a holiday party and you show up with some tough meat, you're gonna hear about it. So I think challenge accepted, maybe.
I could be in trouble. My Thanksgiving turkey, I brined it in whiskey. It was good.
I like 3 bites of turkey at Thanksgiving and that's the extent of
I'm
my.
not a turkey person.
Yeah.
That's why I brined it, because usually it's so dry and awful, and it was very, very good.
Well, for Christmas, I'm gonna do a ham turkey.
Okay, I've seen
So
those.
in my smoker, you put the turkey in, but then you put the ham on top of the turkey.
Mhm.
And so when the ham's cooking, it drips all the ham juice on top of
Juices.
the turkey.
Ooh,
So the turkey literally tastes like ham when you're eating
yeah.
it. Delicious. That's how you make good turkey. You make it taste like ham. Juicy and
That's a trick.
tastes like ham. We're thinking about it. We're talking about the Christmas function and what we're gonna make for the holiday function.
Oh.
So we were talking about brisket and then we were talking about ham or turkey that tastes like ham.
I apologize, this is a little bit harder to read, but this is the same, it's in your packet, but the.
Oh, yeah.
The numbers are.
Thank you.
And frankly,
Okay.
I was gonna say, these numbers are way bigger than what we thought we were going to be getting into.
last November, we had 8.
Yeah.
We had 8.
That's my point. That's what we thought we were getting into. And so I guess I'll ask the question before we even start here. Are we, for the most part, crisis is only for hospital, jail, the public? If some member of the public has a child that is having a crisis at their home, are we in that field? Is that because of licensing or certification, or is that because of choice, or is that because of staffing, or why is all
Yeah.
of these?
Licensing is really.
It's the, yeah.
And then the staff having like protocols, feeling like they're safe to do that, having extra training to do that. So I think, you know, the state's really gonna push for that over the next 2 to 3 years. That is a program that we're able to do.
That would be a tough one.
Yeah, and then just also, because I didn't say this morning and I wanted to reiterate that we are only doing crisis services right now. And I know that's really frustrating for people, but it takes a lot of time and frankly money that we still don't have in order to make the next step. So we're working on it.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think we're in a better position than we were, but we're not moving fast enough for some.
Correct. And I.
We all up here?
Yeah.
You and Paul, oh, I was gonna say, I can't help you with that, sorry. And this is not here. I mean, it is.
Well, we got 3 minutes left. Anybody got anything to talk about? Feel free.
Have you timed yourself on that?
And
Huh?
Have you timed yourself on that?
They're trying to tell me I have 3 minutes to
Yeah,
complete the
yeah.
cube. All right, challenge accepted.
Now the pressure's on, you won't be able to do
Challenge
it.
accepted.
Oh, you printed yours out.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, here, Paul.
Did that a little pressure on me, I'll give you that.
I can't see it because I forgot. I printed it out.
Wrong lenses, sorry.
Yeah.
You still need. See beyond that. Yeah.
Did you go to Chinese for lunch?
Good talk. Focused. You gave me a time limit.
You're gonna blow it. I'm not trying to bungle you up at all.
Hopefully I'm not.
Yeah, live.
One minute to spare.
No, I heard the bell go off.
What? It's 1:59. You gave me 3 minutes.
And you did it. See, I believed in you. I knew you could do it. So the Washington saw website has been hacked.
The what? Washington what?
It's called SAW. It's a portal that you go into for Secure Access Washington if you own businesses.
Oh,
or-
interesting.
So bad.
Your
actors are-
state website?
So they're sending you a website saying it's them and trying to get you to log in, probably trying to get information.
Alrighty, we are 2:00 if everybody's ready. So 2:00 for all you on Zoom land. The next item on our agenda was a Board of Health meeting. So I will recess the Klickitat County Board of Commissioners meeting and call to order the Board of Health meeting. And we will have a staff update or however you want to go about it.
Okay. I think we just have to approve the agenda.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the Board of Health agenda. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approval of the Board of Health agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
I'm sorry, did we approve the agenda? I think I got it.
Yes.
Business agenda, yes.
Okay, and then the minutes.
I would entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve the meeting minutes as presented.
I second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the Board of Health meeting minutes from our last meeting. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approval of the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
I had one question.
Yeah.
On the previous meeting in August, we were unable to approve the prior meeting minutes. They were May 3rd or May 2nd, I believe. And to my knowledge, I haven't seen them yet, so,
I will get those.
okay. And I didn't know where and when to present that question.
Yep, I know.
It sounds like you presented it well, sir, and I didn't know we missed it, so.
We did. And then I think Joel was trying to. Dr. McCullough is not on. You guys can give us a quick update. I think I'll just go ahead. First, I just want to acknowledge we have visitors today, Dr. Jay Miller, Melissa, and then Jennifer. There are regional health liaisons for public health. So they just came down to see our Board of Health, and then so they've been very supportive of us. If Dr. McCullough was to go on vacation, Dr. Miller would be our backup health officer. So just wanted to come visit, and so we took them on a tour today of behavioral health. Got to see public health and Board of Health. So thank you all for driving out.
Where did you come from? Olympia? Yeah. Okay. Okay.
So, and then I'll just go into so we have two fee schedules to approve, so resolutions for two different fee schedules. The first one is for the immunization fee schedule. This fee schedule increases our administration costs of vaccine to $23.44. Previously, it was $20. The state sets the maximum allowable administration fee of vaccine. So we are actually just coming into, we're, I think, one or two iterations behind. And this just sets the fee as the state allows for maximum revenue on immunization costs. The vaccine for children, we do not charge for the vaccine. We only charge the admin fee. And then you'll notice we don't put a admin fee on the influenza vaccine because we considered the admin fee when we set the flu. We do typically set the flu fee every year, just because there's variability in the cost of the flu, but did not reset it this year because there was no real change in costs, and we felt that we were getting adequate revenue for the service.
Okay.
So then
Do you want to take these fees one motion at a time, or you?
Yeah,
Um,
just because they're two different resolutions, I assume, yes?
I would agree.
Okay, let's do it.
So with that, I would entertain a motion on the fee schedule that she just explained.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to accept the fee schedule as directed for the immunization services.
And I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to adopt the fee schedule as presented for immunization services. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approval of the fee schedule, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Any, sorry, any abstentions, any opposed? Didn't hear any. Okay, good to go.
And then I'll just do the next, I'll do the environmental health one and then we'll bump it back over to Dr. McCullough.
Okay.
The environmental health fee schedule, this is the first time we've changed any fees since 2019. I think it came up in a workshop that our hourly rate did not actually cover the cost of our staff time and benefits, so we did increase that. Previously, all of the highlighted, the plan review, pre-opening inspection, change of owner with plan review, and the environmental health review fee were set at $60 per hour. So we're changing those all to be $100 per hour, which is much more conducive to ensuring that our costs for that amount of work is covered. And then also setting our administrative appeal fee. So if there's appeals, that's the cost typically of what working through an appeal would be. So those are the 5 changes to the environmental health fee schedule.
Okay, with that, I would entertain a motion on the environmental health fees proposed.
Mr. Chairman, I would so move that we adopt the changes to the environmental health, the 5 environmental health fee changes as presented.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the presented environmental health fee increases. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approval of the health fee raise, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none. Motion passes.
Then I think if we could go back to Dr. McCullough, if you would like to do your update.
Do we have him? We do have him.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
All right. So today I'd like to talk a little bit about respiratory disease season. As you know, fall and winter, we have increased numbers of respiratory illnesses. So I'd like to talk a little bit about that. From a public health perspective, the main causes of respiratory illness we're concerned about are COVID, influenza, and another virus called respiratory syncytial virus. In terms of the COVID, unfortunately, COVID-19 is still around, even though we don't hear about it as much. Nationally, we see that it's still at a stable level. It hasn't increased substantially this winter yet. When we look at Klickitat County, according to the CDC COVID tracker, we're currently at a low level in terms of the COVID activity. The Washington State Department of Health have developed a tool to help us track easier COVID, flu, and RSV together. And this tool is called the Respiratory Illness Data Dashboard. And here you can find the disease activity and vaccination status for these various respiratory diseases. And this is tracked by region. When you look at all the different metrics that they have, including hospitalization, emergency room visits, deaths, and test positivity, we are lower than we were this time last year as it relates to COVID rates. And also looking at the tool, we're still at a lower level for flu and influenza. In terms of prevention, the best way to protect yourself and others is to stay up to date with the recommended vaccinations. As you know, there was a new COVID vaccine released this fall, and that is available. Flu vaccines are available every year. And for the first time this year, there's vaccines for RSV for infants and for older adults that are increased risk for severe illness from RSV. So that's all I have, just an update on the respiratory illness season and what we can do to help prevent illness among ourselves and our citizens. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Does any members of the board have any questions for Dr. McCall? I hear none. Thank you again, sir, for the update.
Thank you.
Guess we move on to the resolution for the meeting schedule for 2024. I hope it's approved because I just signed it.
Oh, you just signed it? I mean, I approve it, but. I wrote it.
If not, I can scribble it out. It's only 2 signatures, takes 4 or 5, so you know.
So we publish the meeting schedule every year. The last 2 years, we've set them at quarterly, with the understanding that we have the flexibility to determine if we need one sooner. If there's an issue that the board or Board of Health members require us to have more meetings, that we would do that. This just allows us to publish these dates once versus doing it every time we change it. So this just helps us set the meeting for the year.
Hey, does anybody have any issues or any discussion with the proposed meeting schedule for 2024? Not hearing any. I would entertain a motion to approve the resolution.
I was so moved to approve the resolution
A second.
for the
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the resolution for the meeting scheduled dates of 2024. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approval say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? Hearing none, the motion passes. Next up is a public health update with Christy Ridgway, Nursing Director. Are they here?
He is probably online, so.
Hi, good afternoon.
Oh,
You guys hear
there
me?
we go. We see you now.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I'm Christy Ridgway and I was asked to talk about our clinical programs. So I provided you with just kind of a brief outline of the programs that we support in our mission and vision. And of course, our mission is to care for Klickitat County Health Department's mission is to care for the community, and the vision is to really create a healthy community and equitable care and access in a clean and safe environment. We have 2 programs that I'm sure you're aware of that are under that umbrella. One's environmental and one's clinical services. And so David does environmental, and I believe he's going to be presenting to you at the beginning of next year. And I focus on the clinical programs. And so with that, one of the I'm just going to briefly go through the programs we support and give you a brief kind of description of them. If you have any questions, just let me know. One of the programs and we have many partners I want to mention that help us with these programs. We do not do this in isolation. We do not support these programs in isolation and our citizens. So we work with the schools, the Coalition for Preventing Abuse, which we work with Sunday. We work with our healthcare providers, and Culture Seed are just some of the examples of our nonprofits in the gorge that we work with. So one of the first program is our ABCD program, which is a dental program for children that are on Apple Health. And our part really is to give the families the dental care they need and the education, informing them about, early dental care and the health benefits of that. And that program is for children from birth to age 6. We have a very robust breastfeeding program. We have a certified lactation consultant on staff that supports that program, as well as a community health worker. And really, we get notification from hospitals when, babies are born. And so we work real collaboratively And the lactation consultant, what should goes into people's homes if they need that. Families come in here for support. They work with them on the phone or online, whatever is best for them. The community health worker, if families choose, she texts them with support and concerns they may have, so they have great success. We also provide breast pumps that we obtain from the state, and refer them out to any resources they may need. Another program we have is children and youth with special health care needs. This program, we partner with families and the community, the broad community, which could be throughout the state of Washington, to support these families. These are children from birth to 18 that have chronic physical, developmental, behavioral issues that families need support with. We have a nurse care coordinator that works with these families. Examples of chronic illnesses they may have, or just disorders, would be asthma, autism, Down syndrome, speech and language delays. And an example is recently we have a family in our county who has a child with significant disabilities, and they were in need of really some baby food. The child is tube fed, but they feed the child so the child can get used to feeding. And so we were called upon, and we worked with WAGAP to get them what they needed. And I have to tell you, Aaron also gave me $20 to go to the store to buy them some baby food, which we delivered to their home. So these families are under a lot of stress. So that's just an example of some of the things we do in that program. We have a communicable disease program that's pretty robust. We have a nurse that is full-time that works on communicable diseases. There is legal requirements. Providers are required to report. There's identified communicable diseases that are required to be, they're notifiable conditions is what they are, and they need to report them to health departments. So if that citizen lives in a county, our county or Hood River County or wherever, and even wherever they're tested, if they use the address that it's in our county, they're required to report that to us. And it's a very busy program. And we do surveillance and investigation. So the nurse follows up with the lab and the provider at times, and the client, to ask a lot of questions. We want to make sure that it's being managed and it doesn't spread, the disease doesn't spread, that it's contained. And it just seems to be getting busier and busier all the time. And so examples would be chlamydia, gonorrhea, syphilis, E. coli, COVID, hepatitis. Those are all reportable diseases. We have a family planning or sexual reproductive health program. We have a nurse practitioner that works 1 day a week. She works in White Salmon and Goldendale. She goes back and forth, and we offer a lot of counseling to community members that are seeking information and education regarding family planning services. We provide physical exams, lab testing, pregnancy testing, a wide variety of birth control methods. We also have 2 nurses, one in White Salmon and one in Goldendale, that support this program. We have standing orders, so they also do lab testing, pregnancy testing. They can start citizens on birth control if they choose, prior to seeing the nurse practitioner, to help support them in their family planning process. We also have emergency contraceptive that we offer, and The testing for HIV and STDs such as gonorrhea and chlamydia fall under that program. So that's a very busy program. We also refer people out when they need a higher level of services. So other testing that we wouldn't do, they might need to go refer them a lot to Hood River or even OHSU, for example. We have a pretty robust immunization program. Our nurses support that program. And even though I say nurses support these programs, everyone we have a lot of administrators within our department that support these programs also. So the nurses support these, do this program. Basically we carry a lot of vaccines that are provided by the state. We do buy some private vaccines. Schools have requirements, employers have requirements. And we want to make sure, we monitor these to see really what our community is using. So for example, if we had a vaccine in stock and we could see that our community is either maybe getting it at KVH, maybe at the medical clinic there, or at Skyline or North Shore, then we wouldn't be carrying it. But we do, for example, even today, the nurses are out at Roosevelt providing some children with some needed immunizations that are required for them to attend school. So the examples would be, MMR, which is the measles, mumps, and rubella, polio, flu, Tdap, tetanus, shingles. We do a lot of tuberculosis skin tests. For example, if you're going into a nursing program, which we have, of course, in the Gorge, they have to have a test, a TB test. We also have some immigrants coming into our county that require TB testing also. We have a maternity support services program. Again, a nurse supports us, the lactation consultant. We have a registered dietitian that supports this program. We offer services to pregnant women and the babies once are born through their first birthday with that program. They have lots of questions. We want to make sure they understand where their resources are. We want to make sure that they have a provider that they're seeing. And if they run into any problems, we want to be there to help them. So we have a caseload that we follow. We get referrals from the state and also like the MCMC, which is now Adventist, and Hood River, KVH, the medical clinics, Skyline, etc. We have a program, Women, Infants, and Children WIC program, which is a nutrition program. It falls underneath the umbrella of the health department. And again, we have a full-time coordinator, we have the breastfeeding educator, the lactation consultant, and a registered dietitian that supports us besides the administrative staff. It's a supplemental food nutrition program for women who are pregnant, breastfeeding infants and children. So they provide health screening, nutrition, health education, the breastfeeding promotion and support, and they get monthly food benefits also under that program. We began a lead testing program this year. It's really getting up and running. We have an RN running that program alongside the WIC program. They're collaborating together. There's requirements for children living in houses that were built in 1978, or they're in low income or immigrants, or they spend time with someone that works with lead to be tested. So we have found that the providers are just starting to test. Probably there's a pediatrician in Goldendale probably doing more testing than anyone. So we'll also provide education around that. But the WIC sees a lot of these children, and there's a requirement to have these children tested. We've been doing a lot of outreach this last year. We come alongside the community to do school health fair events, the farmers markets. We've been going into some businesses when we're asked. Examples of things we are out promoting is immunizations, family planning, hand hygiene, communicable disease, Narcan distribution. We've been to most all the communities and we'll continue to support the communities. We're going to them. So we've been in Goldendale schools, White Salmon schools, Wishram schools. We've been in the Klickitat school, Lyle, Roosevelt. And the more we go, the more they ask. So us to come alongside them, we're teaching the small children the importance of hand hygiene. And so it's been really, it's been a really great experience, to tell you the truth. And so we're out there doing a lot of networking. The Narcan distribution, we have Narcan kits. We have been going around supporting the coalitions when they're out doing some educational events for the community. For example, a couple of weeks ago, there was a event at the White Salmon Library. They were just using the space, but it was a presentation in Spanish regarding fentanyl abuse. And then we brought the Narcan kits to distribute. These are distributed at no charge. And again, we receive them from the state. We started a Healthy People 2030 program, focusing really on movement and weight control this last year. And then we support Head Start. We have an agreement with Head Start, which is an early learning and growth and development program. They, if they have infants, they require a monthly audit to have a nurse come in and evaluate the environment and the storage of the formula, and to make sure everybody's got all their questions answered and that things are nice and tidy. So we've been, Head Start in Goldendale has had an infant now for off and on for at least a year and maybe 2 years. So that's being done once a month also by a nurse. And so really that's the bulk of the work we do, and then others' duties as assigned. Does anyone have any questions?
Good question. Do any of the board members have any questions?
Just a comment, you're doing amazing work.
Oh, you're doing amazing work too, Sunday. I was bragging. We met with the school, White Salmon, the other day, and I was telling them what great work you do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Next item on our agenda is a behavioral health update with our behavioral health manager. Go ahead, sir. Good afternoon. Is it green?
Okay, there we go.
Boom, now it's green.
All right. Good afternoon to those of you in Zoom land. And good afternoon to the visitors as well and to the board. My name is Tyrone Bryan, and I'm the Behavioral Health Manager for Klickitat County Behavioral Health Department. And I'm going to take this time to introduce myself because this is my first opportunity to speak with everyone present on the board, and also to the visitors and to those on Zoom. So why am I here in Klickitat County? Well, as for some of you, you may know Christopher de Villeneuve. He was a consultant. He's a consultant for the county, and he's a friend of mine, and he reached out to me in a very slick way, told me about what was happening in Klickitat County. Now, in my previous role as a director at Comprehensive, I knew somewhat of what was going on in Klickitat County because I recall some former DCR staff used to cover when they needed coverage down here, as well as the nursing, my former nursing staff. They were very distraught with what was happening and how services were ending. And so when I learned about Klickitat County, it's not that I wanted to come here and right any wrongs, because I didn't do anything wrong, but I wanted to take the opportunity to grow as a clinician, as a leader, and actually help. And it didn't take much for me to decide, because I remember when Chris invited me and said, I would like for you to meet Erin, Erin, you know, and my wife and I, we sat down and we talked for about what, 30 minutes? And then, you know, we just talked generally about stuff. And I said, I like it here. And I said, Fadila, do you have a problem? She said, nope, I don't. And we said, we're moving. And so here I am, and you know, here we are actually, and we're doing the work. If you have any questions, I'm free to answer them accordingly. If you don't mind, I can give some general updates after about, you know, what we've been doing so far. But pretty much, you know, my life story is very diverse. I don't want to bore you to death, but I'll give you a quick overview. So I was born on the island of Jamaica. I'm not sure if you're familiar, but it's a very beautiful place. It's very hot. It's nothing like here. However, my family, we moved to Maryland a while back. And so I've been calling Maryland home. And what brought me to Washington State? So Walla Walla University offered a biology degree in marine sciences. And so I was interested at the time. And so I decided to enter university to study marine biology. Obviously, that didn't work. And my life path took many different turns. I ended up becoming a clinician, and I worked on the island of Guam. I believe that's where I became a sound clinician, where I realized the value in working in rural areas, places where resources are very tight. And on Guam, I learned that very upfront, because on the island of Guam, almost half of their budget is tied to the federal government's decision making. So when things happen in Capitol Hill, everything slowed down on the island. So having worked for the government of Guam and then moving to Walla Walla, because I've always wanted to come back to the Northwest and work, I said, this is where I'm going to set up shop. So my wife and I, we've been living in Walla Walla for the past 2 years. And then when this opportunity opened in Goldendale, now we're here. I intentionally wanted to live in Goldendale because I want to be where the action is, if that makes any sense. The simple question I asked was, if we were to do our outpatient services, where are most of the people going to come from? And Erin told me Goldendale. So I was like, well, that's where I'm going to go. And so that's that. I don't have anything more to share. Again, I can tell you about what I like to do in my spare time, but I don't want to bore you to death. But if you have any questions, I'm free to answer.
Okay, thank you, sir, for that. As the board chair, I'll start that, yeah, I mean, you meet Aaron, you move here because of Aaron, I moved here because of Aaron, Lori moved here because of Aaron. It's just that way, you'll learn. I do want to say thank you for moving into Goldendale, which is a community that I really believe not a lot of people in our county understand. They live in their burb or their borough, and Goldendale is kind of out of sight, out of mind. And since it is, to me, the majority of the issue, having a better understanding of it will only help us fix it faster. So I just want to go out and say thank you for that. Any other members of the board have anything they want to say to our fine manager here?
I do. The first time I got to meet you, I was on Zoom.
Yes,
So
I
didn't-
remember.
Yeah, I didn't get to meet you in person, but you captured me right away when you said you wanted to end the revolving door. And that's a passion of mine. And we heard that out of the sheriff department today, that the biggest concern from our jail person is that revolving door, and they see how damaging it is. And so I thank you for that work. That's very, very important.
I agree with you. Okay, you had me at hello. Anybody else?
I'm familiar with many of the individuals that you are familiar with and that are working with, and I hear great things about you. I am on the same bandwagon as we need some solid services here for our citizens, and I understand that takes time to build. So I guess my question would be is, for you is, how do you see it, your behavioral health services moving forward? I know right now, as was stated earlier, right now it's really just crisis response. And we need so much more in this community and in this county. And I know that's a big question, but it's one that is asked over and over and over again.
No, I appreciate the question, and I'm sorry, may I have your name, please?
I'm sorry, my name is Sunday Sutton.
All right, I believe you were at a presentation, and nice to see you again. All right, so that's a very important question, and quite honestly, I'm very optimistic about our decisions and everything that we've been doing so far. And here's why. You don't need a massive squad of people to do behavioral health work. You just need a solid team of individuals who understand the work. You can't teach empathy. You also can't teach certain skills that require for you to go inside of a room or go inside of a place where someone is in distress and then emote and then reach them in a way in which we're as if you were talking to a family member. Now, one of the reasons why I'm motivated and I'm always optimistic about this work is because ever since I was a child, I felt very powerless when a very close family member of mine had a mental health challenge in Jamaica. If you think the services are behind here, Jamaica, I don't know what kind of age it is because it's really behind. And I recall just feeling so helpless as a young person. And so, you know, some people develop different some issues to deal with their trauma. For me, I said, if I'm going to go into this work, I want to treat everyone as if I'm treating my mom. And I think that's a healthy obsession, in my opinion. You can judge me if you want, but I don't care. But I think in doing so, when I look at someone, it's as if I'm helping my mom. If that makes any sense. And so as far as the outpatient is concerned, I like what you said. It takes time. But we can't sit here and twiddle our thumbs and say, oh, you know, we have plenty of time. No, we don't. Time is of the essence. And I am pleased to say that we did obtain our outpatient's license. However, we cannot move forward until we have significant conversations with different managed care organizations in order for somebody to say, we are willing to pay for those encounters that you're going to be having. So it's very important also that we keep in mind that because our field is heavily regulated, we have to have the proper procedures and policies in place and people with the know-how and the supervision as well intact so that if we are going to be audited, which will happen very frequently, we know what we're doing and we're not going to bring shame onto the county. So that's very important to me. So until we lay the foundation while simultaneously working in tandem with the jail, with a crisis program, and since we've hired a crisis case manager, we are already doing like I won't say pseudo, what's another word for pseudo? We're doing somewhat like a semi-outpatient, hybrid outpatient program where the crisis case manager can already, if a person is in crisis, they were hospitalized, that person can then go provide supportive counseling to that individual, do care coordination and all those things. And it still would count as if we're leading the person to outpatient. Until we have the capacity, we can't do it. But in the meantime, we are making strides toward that end. So I don't know if that answers your question, but I am very optimistic and I believe we're making significant movements ahead.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, and I
Yeah,
good job, sir. And Aaron and everybody, because while I agree with you, we're not there yet. Got to think of where we were a year ago. The huge Herculean lift it was to get us where we are today in a year. Right? Paul's got it. Back to Aaron again. We all got suckered by Aaron, and here we are. Anybody else have?
Yes, that's right.
I just wanted to say thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
Excited that you're present.
We're excited that you're here and you're not allowed to leave, just so you know.
I really appreciated earlier, prior to the meeting, hearing a little bit about your thoughts on where you are now, wanting to document your encounter time, you and your staff. That's, as a clinician, a former clinician, that's key as far as being
and
people understand what it is you're doing and how much time it takes.
Yeah, full disclosure too. Good news. Yours truly was able to be privileged as a DCR for the county. I was a DCR on the island of Guam, but you know, different laws, different everything. So being in the state of Washington, you know, it's a badge of honor because I take it seriously in terms of the work that we do. So I My leadership style is I like to understand what staff are doing and experiencing in order for me to supervise them best. So come January, February, you're gonna be seeing me out in the community. So you're welcome.
That it? Okay. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Aaron, do you have anything else for us before we go to public access to the board?
I do not at this time, no.
Okay.
Thank you.
At this time, we have a section in our agenda for public access to the board. This is a time for any citizens that have questions or comments related to the Board of Health that they would like to address to the Board of Health. With that, we'll go in the room first and see if there's any hands up for anybody that has questions, and I'm not seeing it. So we'll go on to Zoom land. If anybody on Zoom land has comments or questions for the Klickitat County Board of Health, which is 5 people. It is your 3 commissioners, 6 people actually, but we only currently have 5. Please raise your hand, unmute yourself, or otherwise get our attention. I'm not seeing it. That means everybody's healthy and happy and ready for the holidays. Last call for public comment or questions to the public Klickitat County Board of Health. Unmute yourself, raise your hand, or get our attention. Hey, I do not see it, so we will open the next page. With that, we'll call public access to the board now closed. Anything else by members of the board they would like to bring up before we adjourn? No, 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 and no, and no, and no. Yeah, I just want to thank everybody for the hard work. And when are your guys' appointments? First of the year or to July? That's right.
Sundays should be up in July.
Okay.
You're already tired of me, huh?
No, no, we were just talking about a different board appointment for planning commission that was due. So I was trying to get ahead of myself and make sure that we had your applications on file. Nope, good enough for that. With that, I guess I can just adjourn, but I would entertain a motion to adjourn just to make it a team effort.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to adjourn the Klickitat County Board of Health. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any abstentions or nays? Hearing none. All right, perfect. Thank you, guys. Thank you all. Mr. McCullough. Thank you, sir. Byron is the last name, right? Brian or Byron? Brian. Spell it different than Brian. Mr. Brian. Got it. Perfect. Next item. I guess I'll let everybody clear. Yes, I guess for us, if we don't have anything else pressing, I now have a phone call at 3, so. Anything before that? We have a visitor. Is there?
Okay.
She what?
She belongs to her.
Okay.
Okay.
You didn't show up for public comment or anything? You could have.
Oh, it was a hard day.
All right.
We're so mean.
Nobody shows up to support me.
We could
Spoiled
hire her.
rotten. All right.
Mr. Chairman, I would move to adjourn until Tuesday of next week. What's the date?
All right. I don't.
December 5th.
Yep. I don't see. Yep. All right. I will step down and second the motion to adjourn. Any discussion on the motion to adjourn? Hearing none. And as long as Erin doesn't need us before we adjourn, she came back in the room. Nope. All those in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you, everyone on Zoom land.